Intelligent Idea Podcast.
Hey, we live. Hey guys, welcome back. Once again, thanks for joining us on another episode of the Intelligent Idea Talkers Podcast. Yo, for the week of 5/24/2025, May 24th, 2025. Thanks for joining us once again. I'm your host, D.
This is Juice.
And we are sadly missing one of our cohorts, our partners in crime.
The third leg of the tripod.
Zero. Hey man,
You know what I'm saying?
have a good trip. Wish I was
He's
there
out
with
here
you
in
Chicago, bro.
What's that joint called? Smash Con?
Yeah.
Nah, it's like he's out in Chicago doing this
He was
thing,
saying we got to
whooping
plan the
niggas'
trip.
asses in video games.
Yeah, he was saying
The
we got to
Street
plan a
Fighter.
trip next year, or even to Vegas, man. I'm down, man. Seriously.
So not Street Fighter. He's out there whooping niggas' ass in Power Stone because he's hosting. That's the thing, man. He's hosting a Power Stone tournament
Mm-hmm.
at it's not Smash Con. What am I calling that shit?
You know, I never obviously competed in competitive video games. You know, I'm not really such a big online player. I consider myself more of a casual gamer where I like to just
Combo breaker.
explore the story, explore the world, see what's going on, you know, collectibles and stuff like that. And go on the adventure of the video game. But those competitions get super competitive, bro. Like seriously, it's like being at a ball game or something. Yeah. It's like, I mean, you're cheering, you're like, oh, you know. So yeah, man. Hope Frank is doing well out there. You know, wish I was with you, man. You know. But
hey, next time we're gonna be out there, we're gonna get our Power Stone skills together. Then we're gonna go out there and we're gonna run. We're gonna run
seriously,
things, man.
I don't know about participating for me, but I was definitely down to go and spectate. Spectating, I'm with, man. Like seriously, we need to plan that trip. We need to make this happen, man.
Man, hey, speaking of video games, man, hold on, hey, man, look, I understand it. I know it's been a while, but hey, man, Monster Hunter's out again. Monster Hunter Wilds. They got this new DLC coming out. Street Fighter. Come on, man, like just try it again, man.
Monster Hunter is an extremely niche kind of game. Like I don't really understand the appeal, but it's why it's so popular. It's like, and what am I missing? You know, it's like Dark Souls almost. Like the game is so popular. Yeah. Like, what am I missing that I don't find such enjoyment in it? I don't know. I guess like grinded out games for me are kind of like
that's probably what it is. Like Monster Hunter and Dark Souls, or like, you know, those type games, like those From Software games, Elden Ring. It's all about like it's like that mix between the fighting game and the adventure game, right?
Yeah.
So like Zero Horizon Dawn is like on the far end of like the adventure game. And then you got like Tekken, Street Fighter on the far ends of like the fighting game. And so you have like you develop mechanics, you increase your reaction time with fighting games. You increase your understanding of placement and movement and timing and all that stuff with fighting games to like advance and be really good at it. So you can hit parries and counters and all these other things that are included in it. Then on the other end, you have the adventure game like Zero Horizon Dawn or like the Lord of the Rings. What's that one called? Or like what else? I don't know. Just like, you know, those adventures like God of War, right? You're just out there, and like there's a degree of like skill and timing, but a lot of it is cooked into the game. Where like, you may have a bad round, but you're not gonna lose, right?
No,
you're not gonna hit that wall. But Monster Hunter and like the From Software games are kind of like you have this wild world that you're exploring, but at the same time, a regular ass minion will kill you if you not ready. Like if you ain't tight, like a regular ass like just zombie whatever will wreck you if you ain't got your skill down, if you ain't tight and you ain't good with it like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that mix. Like Monster Hunter's kind of like that. Like you're every monster you hunt is like you have your big bosses, but a lot of the murder monsters you're hunting, they're big, but they're not like crazy. But each one, if your gear ain't right, if you don't know your weapon, you don't know like you don't understand how the monster moves, then like a regular ass monster will wreck you if you don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I mean, I know I kind of went on a rant on that, but
no, you good. You're trying to sell the game. You've been trying to sell me that game for a long time, man.
Yeah, man. Put me on that game. I'm just saying, welcome.
At least a good year or two.
A year? That's it?
I think so. Because I bought it. I bought my Monster Hunter. I still have it.
You got World back in the day.
I think I bought it on PS4. I would need to get the PS5 version, but I mean, yeah, it just I don't know. It just didn't appeal to me.
They had two since then. They had Rise, and now they got Wilds.
Those grinded out games like that. I don't know. I just like something like fast paced action. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. You said God of War. That's right up my alley. Spider-Man. I can't wait till GTA. Is it true that GTA 6 got pushed back? Is that true?
I heard they did. So. Yeah, I heard they did. But I heard they're also working on the battle. I don't know if you ever played Battlefront, the Star Wars now.
Yeah, I heard they're working
on Battlefront 3. That's about to. Okay, that's one of the. That's a fast pace. Like
the story was good. I like the story. Yeah, never played the game though. Excuse me. But yeah, man. Hey, all good luck to Frank, man. Hope everything goes well. Hopefully, next year we'll be joining you, man. So, but yeah, so I guess we're gonna hop into a few things tonight. Snoop amongst them, Trump. So there's no really pop culture-y kind of things going on in the next couple of weeks, right? Like no movies or anything. I think
I'm gonna go see Thunderbolts super soon. At some point.
To be honest,
one day I'm gonna go see it, and then we're gonna go see it.
It wasn't all that. I did like how they made the movies that came before it matter. You know what I'm saying? Like it made use of the story, the groundwork that was laid. Post Endgame. So that part was good. It wasn't the most overly exciting movie, but neither was Captain America: Brave New World. But I enjoyed Captain America. I thought it was good. I thought it needed a little bit more action as well. I would compare Thunderbolts to Captain America. Did you enjoy Captain America?
Yeah, I did, except for that weird girl that kept getting in there. And that secret agent chick that was annoying. She kind of almost ruined it for me, man.
She was a widow.
Yeah, just didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it didn't make any sense. It kind of almost kind of broke it for me, man. Like I love that movie, except for when she pops up, and I'm just like, it just doesn't fit, man. And this ain't like a physicality thing. It's not a sexism thing. It's like you got to make it make sense. Why are you here? But anyway, other than that, like I love the movie. I like Sam. I like the Red Hulk. I thought that was cool. I thought Harrison Ford did a great job. Thunderbolts. I've heard mixed reviews. Mm-hmm.
It's comparable to Thunderbolts, and they made use of the story that happened in Captain America as well. So it's worth it to see, just so you see how it fits into the overall, whatever narrative Marvel was trying
to. Without spoilers, does it solidify my theory of? Remember, I had a theory from the end credits of Captain America that they're going to do like an incursion style world versus world. Did they solidify that theory at all? Like universe versus universe. Anything come out about that?
Somewhat. I don't know about versus, but they definitely did a universe and a universe kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
okay, but nothing bumping heads. Anything's on the line between the two of them.
You have to see Thunderbolts to understand, because what happens in Thunderbolts is going to matter in the next couple Marvel movies. So you see the kind of the world they're building, and that's what we've been asking for Marvel since the Avengers whole thing saga kind of ended, is Just tell us a continuous story. Like, none of these movies are tying into each other. Where's Shang-Chi? Where's, all these other people? Did they mention Shang-Chi in Thunderbolts? I don't think so. But they might.
He's coming back. Like,
yeah,
look,
like, where
that's the thing. What's up with people don't understand? Everybody's so impatient. They've been doing that. But for it to matter, these stories, look, just like in comic books, like the reason Avengers ever mattered was because people followed the individual heroes elsewhere, and they liked them. And then
and vice versa. That works vice versa.
Then they're like, what if we put them together? And everybody was like, oh, like that's amazing. So like,
or
they have to do all these disparate stories, not really seeing how they tie in, and then they'll bring it together later for it to matter that they brought them together.
Or you can start as a group, such as the X-Men, and then branch off into individual stories off of that. So it goes both ways.
They could do that. They could do that. But the X-Men, they're just, you can start with the teams, but like Avengers didn't start as the teams.
Movies is a different medium, and it doesn't take pages and pages and issues to. All it takes in a movie is just a line or two of dialogue to fill something in, just a snapshot of something, and you'll remember, hey, they showed that in another movie. I remember that, That's all it takes. It's just a few seconds. So it irritates you when you don't see connections, from movie to movie, like
So they next time we're going to check it out. Maybe they'll do it this time.
Yeah, because that way, hey, they referenced this movie and that movie. So now I got to see the next movie to understand the two that can, it's like a comic book in real life. So they matter. Yeah. But I just want to touch on something, pop culture related. I know we've been doing a lot of pop culture. So I think the next movie, Ballerina, is the next John Wick movie. Did you ever see the last John Wick, number 4? Oh, juice, come on, you gotta catch up with that.
I'm gonna see it.
It's just as cool as the other 3. You saw the other 3.
I know, that's my problem. It's like, is it just as bad? Is it just as cool as the other 3?
Yeah, but in a different way. All the movies give you something different that you've never seen before. They all have a different scene that you've never seen. Like Donnie Yen in that movie was awesome, man. Like,
yeah, I do want to see Donnie Yen in that though.
They made more light of him, or they focused on him maybe just as much as John Wick in that movie. Like, he was the John Wick style, so. But the next, and then of course, obviously, what everybody's waiting for, Superman, is in July. So you don't care about Superman?
I can't, man. Like, I'm trying. I tried.
Dude, that's sacrilege. But you're going to see it. You know why? You know how I know? Because Superman movies are events, man, and we don't miss those, bro. You know that.
We've only had a few.
Exactly. So even like,
I don't think that qualifies them as being events. Like, yes, Marvel movies are events.
Superman movies. We've seen them all, and you know what? You said they only had a few, but you've seen them all. You've seen them. Like, you're gonna add this one to the list.
Hold on. Also, it doesn't really count because when you say all of them, I saw Superman Returns on DVD like years after it came out.
Oh yeah.
And then before that, we're talking about like Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
So I did see Man of Steel. Like, so I think that's it, right?
But you saw BVS.
I think that's it. I saw all of it.
Wait, you saw BVS. You saw Justice League. Those all count as Superman.
But those weren't Superman movies.
Yeah, but no, BVS was. It was just as much a Superman movie as a Batman movie. It was Batman versus Superman. Yes, it was.
It's not a. It was more focused on Batman. I'll give you Batman versus Superman. I'll give you that one, but still,
it was more focused on Batman. It was, but it was Batman versus Superman. It was focused on Clark Kent. So
niggas hated that jump for some reason.
But yeah, man, we're gonna see that. Come on, stop that.
No, I'll see it. I'm just not psyched. I'm not hyped about it.
Yeah,
like I saw the clip. I saw the robots. I saw the new trailer. I saw that where they changed it, where like somebody threw a can on his head in the new trailer. Like in the old trailer, he flinched when they hit him with the head with the can. And the new trailer, they changed it so he didn't flinch. And I'm like, I still don't care. Like, yeah, Eyes Up Here. Like, I saw that. The new trailer, Eyes Up Here. Just like,
yeah,
okay, cool.
He better not flinch. Like, if somebody hits Superman in the, I don't think he flinched. I think it was more like a
they changed it. They changed it. Like they had the old one and they updated it in a new trailer.
No, I remember seeing it the first time. And it did look like he flinched. It did look like his eye kind of blinked.
It was just like a twitch.
Yeah, but
that could have been like a human reaction too. It might not because it hurt.
If I can justify that in the world of the film, I don't think that was a flinch from impact. That was just a flinch from, I can't believe you did that. You know what I'm saying? That's what that was. So
yeah, like why would a person throw a can at me? Like it's an emotional thing, right?
Yeah, something like that. Like they're booing me. I can't believe.
But they removed it, which makes me think like, did that make him seem weak? Because I didn't think twice about it. But apparently somebody must have thought that made him seem weak, so they removed it.
I definitely thought about it from the initial trailer because he's Superman and like he wouldn't react to a can being thrown at him. You know what I'm saying?
But he would react to the ire of the people.
Yeah, and like they're despising him and throwing shit at him, and you know.
I feel like him.
But as the actor, if he really got hit in the back of the head with a can, you know what I'm saying? Like he might have been a little upset.
Method acting and shit.
It's like a prop.
They actually threw a can at this thing.
Yeah.
The fuck? He's like,
yeah. That shit still had coke
for blood.
Yeah, that shit still had liquid in the can. Dog. You gotta know that shit. But yeah, man. So yeah, that's gonna set us up for summer, man. You know, this is gonna be a good summer for movies, man. Like if you like movies, it's been surprising, man. Sinners.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a good year for movies, entertainment.
Speaking of entertainment, let's talk about Snoop Dogg, the once former famous rapper, who we all were really inspired by his, conviction. No, we weren't. We were inspired. We like Snoop because he was a good rapper and he made good music, right? Mm-hmm. And then after the fact, after all that stuff, he was a comedian. He kept making music while being like he was a cultural icon, right? Because one, we always got the feeling Snoop told it like it was, right? When he was hanging out with Martha Stewart, he crosses boundaries, right? So like the white culture appreciated him for that. Like white parts of America was like, yeah, he crosses boundaries. He's buddies with Martha Stewart, and they both they both. What was it? What was the whole thing with Martha Stewart? Like you have two people on the screen. You have a big black dude from the hood, and you have a little white lady from like the estates, but only one of them was like a felon and shit. And it's her, right?
Right. So like the irony and the clash of cultures and the contrast of the skin tone.
We appreciated that.
Yeah. Just coming from different walks of life. But,
Snoop is good for bridging that, right?
As much, I don't know about good. And I don't even know about Snoop telling it like it is. Right? Like Snoop has had a checkered past, right? Like no one would argue that like Snoop back in his doggy style days, 94, 95, rolling with Death Row, was seen as a good person. He was the prototypical, he was what a gangster would look like, a menace, you know what I mean? On TV, especially during that time. Like you talk about like Rodney King.
Persona as like a pimp, right?
Rodney King and all this mid-90s LA shit, you know what I mean? Hood, East Coast versus West Coast. Like y'all ain't got no love for West Coast. Remember Snoop on the Source Awards and all that shit? Like, so.
Rodney King he was beaten by the police.
Right. But LA, and still during that time, like that was during the time of the riots, there was a lot of
outspoken like member of the West Coast of the whole like Eazy-E era, like being a member of the Eazy-E era and the whole fuck the police, which is what NWO was known for. And then Dre spinning out of that, right?
Yeah. So the point
there's
to say all that
rebelliousness of the West Coast.
The point
Snoop embodied,
to say all that is you got to be proud of Snoop and what he's been able to accomplish, not only from a business standpoint, but from his ability to flip his image. Right, like now white people are not scared of Snoop. Like the average white lady who didn't know Snoop would probably still cross the street if she was walking towards Snoop at night. or shit, I might cross the street if Snoop was walking towards me at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I didn't know he was Snoop and I just seen this dude, I'm like, oh shit, this nigga, he's crossed the street. But, Snoop has ingratiated himself with white culture through Martha Stewart's and the Trumpses, and you know what I mean? So, hey, whether we like it or not, for a lot of celebrities, you got to make them dance. Like Dave Chappelle said, man, get the dancing, nigga. You know what I mean? Entertain, So if they like you, you kind of made it. You know what I mean? Like, we can't deny that the white audience is wider because of the people who control the entertainment industry, right? Like,
but we know for a fact that, especially when it comes to black music,
black music is always contained.
Most black music is consumed by white America.
100%.
They just by the order, it's the reason
whole hip hop culture.
White America loves black hip hop and black rap and black aesthetics. Like, they love it, right? They just
Kendrick
don't always like the black people that come with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kendrick is capitalizing off the same thing right now. That whole Super Bowl performance put him in a whole different stratosphere as far as the audience that he reaches. Just like Snoop doing the inauguration, bro. Like, those people don't listen to Snoop. That shit was international. He got international attention, which he already has, right? Like, I don't know if Snoop is known around the world, right? I've never been to Thailand or traveled to Europe, such as yourself. You know what I mean? I wish you could go. I wish you would have asked some people that, hey man, how well do y'all know Snoop? How y'all know Snoop Dogg? Like, people know him there.
Sorry, that wasn't really my prerogative and shit. But
well, yeah, I would never ask.
He's out there like, yo, hey, what up, man? Yeah, I'm new here, just hanging out. Yeah. Y'all know who Snoop is? You ever heard of this Snoop Doggy Dogg?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're right to a degree. Like, the inauguration and the Super Bowl are kind of different things. But as far as being venues that people attend, then yeah, also all right. So I guess let me just throw it into context what we're talking about. So Snoop Dogg. Oh, go ahead.
No, well, go ahead. I was just saying the same thing about him being a sellout. I would agree that Snoop, he knew what performing at that inauguration was going to label him as, man. He knew that. And he still chose to do it. So,
let's play the video.
He knew that black people were going to see him in a sellout light, and he did it anyway, But
that's the thing, he, according to this video, and I'm going to play it, I actually have it queued up, and I don't know how this is going to look. Audience, I don't know how this is going to look, but I'm going to play it, and we're going to see if this works. Let me know if it doesn't. Audience.
Takes a performance gig for some crypto cats around Donald Trump's inauguration. You knew the water was going to be hot, but you went ahead and delved into it. What do you have to say to people now that maybe are feeling some type of way?
Well, I think the situation that needs to be explained is that, 30 minutes or 30 years, right? So how long did I DJ for that night? 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Right? So David Sachs, which is the head of crypto. So say, for example, Ebro is David Sachs. He's been my friend for 15 years. Ebro gets a job from the White House to go do some crypto business when me and Ebro been doing crypto business since it started. So imagine that relationship that I have with Ebro, and he gets the job at the White House, and then Ebro says, hey, Snoop, I have an event that are some very important people there that's going to help with the initiatives that you want to do dealing with the community in the hood. We need you to show up. We got a bag for you and a bag for the community. We just need you for 30 minutes. Boom. Ebro, I'm there. Show up, do the show, go back to the public. Man, why he do that for him over here? Right. Why he represent him over here when all I did was something for him over here for my people over there? But the perspective sometimes is always thrown out of context because the media threw out their comment, I didn't say nothing. So a lot of times people went to defend me and they went to fight for me or say, hey man, y'all can't say that about Snoop. He did this, he did that. And then you had some people say, well, 8 years ago he said this. But what I say is 30-minute DJ set versus 30 years of real work. Which one matters?
All right. I mean, he said a lot of words in that jump. But it sounds like, look, let me just jump straight off, man. Like, I feel like that's a disingenuous answer, man. like I know he's rationalizing. In my mind, that sounds like a man who is rationalizing his decision and looking back and being like, man, what I did wasn't that bad. Like, y'all overreacting to the shit I did. You know, and I look, that's my initial take from it. Like, I feel like he's what do you call it? Like rear view mirror, or like, I don't know, hindsight's 2020. So you rationalize the shit you did to make yourself feel better now. Because I feel like he wasn't quiet because he was confident in his position. I think he was quiet because he saw exactly what everybody else saw. And he knew he couldn't really justify that. Like, look, well, the inauguration was in January or February?
I think it was January.
January, okay. It's been like 4 months. Like, that's the best you got?
Mm-hmm.
Like 30 minutes versus 30 years. My friend, who's a friend of Donald Trump and his like succinctly, like clearly racist campaign. My friend who's a part of that racist this racist regime. The same racist regime which Trump on his Snoop on his own said was racist the last time. That it's more racist now by every metric. And I find benefit of doubt, he didn't know how bad it was going to. Like, they didn't have the Gestapo running around like black bagging like immigrants in January. That didn't pop up until February, maybe March. So fair enough, you didn't see that. But like, we know Trump and his cronies are racist. We know he got like Nazis up in his crew. Like, he saw that's the same inauguration where Elon Musk hit the Heil Hitler, right? Hit the Nazi salute. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. I just feel like if he was honest in his assessment, he could have came up with something better than that. It just feels like, you know, nigga rationalizing to me.
Like, it's almost like, okay, so when he's saying 30 years versus, 30 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever he said, right? Like, it's kind of like maybe about like leaving a legacy, right? Because, like, don't get it twisted. To Donald Trump and to the likes of the people who he rolls with, who were taking part in that inauguration, they look at Snoop as the entertainment. He's the clown. Snoop is not on their level. You know what I mean? Half those people don't even listen to Snoop. They might know Snoop. Oh, that's the rapper, Snoopity Dog. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know his name. You know what I mean? Yeah, Snoopity Doop. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know who the fuck he is. Like, he's Dave Chappelle. Get up on there and dance, nigga. You know what I mean? Like, so don't get it.
That's how they
you don't roll with us. But maybe Snoop was trying to look bigger. Maybe he's trying to roll in the circles of power for a bigger accomplishment. You know, like, you had to know performing at his inauguration was going to be seen as a sign of like cohesion, or like a sign of support for Trump, right? Like, you had to know there was going to be some kind of backlash, right? And if that's not what you stand for, especially you're talking about with the ICE and all that and black bagging, and especially for him being from the LA community, right? Like, I mean, you would imagine they're hit way harder than a lot of other places are, with all this, deportations and everything. So, of course, he probably didn't see the writing on the wall, but I think he was trying to build something, thinking towards something bigger. Okay, if I can do this thing to make a friend in a high place, maybe I can accomplish this for my community later on, 10 years down the road or 30 years down the road. I don't know. But
I think that's like the definition of selling out.
In the long run, I don't think this is going to hurt Snoop. I think this is going to be a small little snip in his legacy. Maybe it'll work in his favor in a couple years, but I don't think from his fans and the people who support him, like, because we know Snoop didn't need to do this for money. He didn't need the money. So what did you want? The notoriety? Well, here it is. There's the backlash for it. You know what I'm saying? Like you wanted the notoriety. That's people gonna start talking now. You know, why the fuck would you be seen supporting Trump? I don't support Trump. Well, we saw you perform at his inauguration. So what is that? You know, the same one Elon Musk did the Hail Hitler joint or whatever. You know what I mean? Right. So
yeah, the doubles Nazi salute.
These people do not see Snoop as an equal. That's why he's the performer. He get on there and make us laugh. Go ahead, dance, nigga. You know what I mean? Okay, go on, shoot, and let us do business. You know what I mean? Now the business can start when you get out of here. You know, so I don't know.
I guess like the question we don't know is like, what would have been the cost to him of him saying no?
I think from an entertainment standpoint, performing at the inauguration, regardless of the president, would be a huge honor, right? Like, if people recognize you to the point where they ask you to perform at an inauguration. Now it's a clown show. Maybe they chose him to perform or asked him to perform to draw in a certain audience.
Hey, wait, question. Who performed at Obama's inauguration?
Who did? I can't remember. I would have to Google it. I don't want to cheat.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so maybe they asked Snoop to come. Maybe they asked Snoop to come and perform so they can draw in a certain audience that they didn't have access to. Because they were racist, right? Like, we don't have access to this because we're racist. We need somebody who's going to draw their eyeballs. Oh, let's get Snoop.
Wait, access to what?
A certain demographic or people that they didn't have access to before due to their inherent racism. Well, at the inauguration, they still need eyeballs. You know, if people heard that Snoop was performing, it's
already done. It's a celebration for a win they already got, right?
Yeah. And
like, there's no ad rev off the inauguration.
Yeah, well, okay, so people are still going to tune in just because it's a Snoop show, and they're going to be interested. It's the only reason we're talking about it, you know, because it was Snoop. Maybe that was part of their plan. That was part of their big plan, was to get Snoop so people could talk about it, and there'd be this thing, you know, and it would draw interest from this demographic that we didn't have access to before because we're racist, you know. Maybe that was the plan. Let's use.
But then by doing this, they definitely made black people like them less. Like,
yeah, well, you could
definitely were like, every black person was like, "Yo, what the fuck is happening? Why is Snoop up here?" Nobody was like, "Oh, they got Snoop. All right, maybe they are cool.
Yeah, let me check it out." Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're not so bad after all.
Hey, they do stupid shit like that, you know. Hey, didn't Hillary Clinton do the Cabbage Patch at one of her pre-election rallies or something? Didn't she do the Cabbage Patch or something like that? I thought she did.
I feel like if she did, I don't know. I know she had the whole hot sauce in her bag thing.
Yeah.
Well, everybody does electric slide.
Yeah, right? Something like that.
But like, if she did do the Cabbage Patch, that shit is like a decade out of style, and that speaks for itself. That's not for us.
Mm-hmm.
That Cabbage Patch, if she did it, it was not for us.
The Cabbage Patch is definitely more than a decade out of style. That's 2-3 decades out of style now. Yeah, that's no cabbage.
Like, I think that's more like white than it. That's like
we was Cabbage Patching. Black folk was Cabbage Patching back in the day, bro.
In like the 80s, right? Or the early 90s? I don't know, man. I just like nobody's Cabbage Patching anymore.
No, not anymore.
Like, that wasn't for us. Like, if she did do the Cabbage Patch, it was for the people who, it was for the same people who dance like this, right? Like, we don't do that either. Cabbage Patch and this have fallen to the same category. It's not us.
I think I told this story before.
You ain't never seen a nigga since 1994 up in the club doing this.
I think I told this story before, or the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast. Juice got challenged to a dance off once, man. I think it was it in Norfolk? It might have been in Norfolk at the sweat box, little sweat box, y'all had?
Oh yeah. Bro,
we went in there one time.
About?
It was literally like 1,200 people inside the stadium. I was like, what the hell? It was hot as hell in that joint.
That shit was a gym. It was a gym.
That shit was so unsafe. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could have died in that joint, man. We could have got trampled.
State?
Yeah, no, that joke. Yeah, I remember I saw this dude pop Juice's collar and start dancing off of him, man. I can't remember if you battled back. I don't think you battled back.
No, hell yeah, I battled him, man. I battled.
That shit was chaos in there, man.
No, the sweat box, man. Thursday nights. That shit was crazy. I don't even think they do. I don't know if they can do that anymore. But I think I went to like only lasted like my freshman and my sophomore year.
Yeah,
it fell apart after that. But like, yeah, damn.
Yeah, I was coming down there like a mud those first 2 years, but I think I went to like 2 or 3 of those. I was walking in and off of Norfolk State campus like I went there. You know what I'm saying? Just walking in the towers and whatnot. You know. Yeah, man, that was cool.
The sweat box.
Yeah, man, Juice definitely got challenges, man. But hey, you know, whatever, man. Power to Snoop. I wouldn't say I'm a supporter or detractor of Snoop Dogg.
But did he sell out?
I think Snoop Dogg is above being canceled as long as he doesn't do anything illegal. You know, right? Like,
cancel ain't got nothing to do with legality.
Yeah. Because he was kind of clapping back on whether people were trying to cancel him. Maybe he was talking about the black people trying to cancel him over, like, you know, as long as he doesn't do anything like with children or get caught up in any kind of, you know, sex scandal or something. Like, you know, I think Snoop is pretty good. He's like wholesome Snoop. Isn't it weird that he turned his career around like that? Because he was like the epitome of gangster rap, bro. I'm talking about like Death Row Records. His record label was Death Row Records, bro. It was on Death Row. You know what I mean? But yeah, Suge Knight out there threatening people with baseball bats and shit. You know, like that shit was crazy. So,
yeah, but like as far as Snoop goes now,
like, around to performing at the inauguration of one of the presidents of the United States, like that is a huge accomplishment.
I think the real question though is like, I think the question like everybody's kind of asking is like, one in here. The answer is like no, but like to ask the question anyway, does the integrity of our celebrities matter to us? Should it matter to us? Should the integrity of our celebrities matter to us?
Yes, I think integrity should matter to everyone anyway, right? Like you should be a person of integrity, a person of your word.
I think you should be, but I think the old adage of like no heroes is probably the best way to go, because it's just a matter of time before your favorite like celebrity principled person, you know, sells out for, just like Snoop said, the bag, right? It's just a matter of time, man. That's how this shit works.
Money rules the capitalist society, man. Like money is everything. At the end all be all, money will keep you out of jail.
Yeah, there's no values. It's just exactly. There's no values. It's just money, right? It's like that's kind of the problem with capitalism. It doesn't allow for values when money is involved, right?
Yeah,
so it's just like when we see exactly money is the value. It's the only value that holds any weight to these people. So, I mean, I think the answer is no. We shouldn't expect like any celebrity to be that kind of beacon, to be like that steadfast. Like we love Kendrick Lamar right now, but it's just a matter of time for this nigga to sell out for some other shit. It's literally just a matter of time, because it's happened like every time, right? So I don't like begrudge Snoop. In fact, I think like Snoop, like by being quiet for this whole time, I feel like that was the best thing he could have done, because it allowed for the news cycle to move past him. Like, I don't know why he's talking now. You should take that shit to the grave, bro, because your answer wasn't supportive, right? Your answer didn't help you. Right now, like if you don't come out now, your answer didn't help you. All it did was re-spark the conversation. But
he definitely now, man, confident in his response. You know, I'll say it like that.
Yeah, right. Like you got the same vibe, right? Like,
and I'll say
even at the end, he was just like,
"Yeah,
I think it's you know, for the community."
And
it's like, all right, nigga. Like, the community.
His
Same thing about the community.
His fan base is so wide. I think it obviously encapsulates more than just Black people, right? Like there's Hispanics who support stuff. I mean, look, he's representative of the LA. You know, when you think about LA, you know, from a hip hop perspective, entertainment perspective, you can't think about it without thinking about Snoop. You know, there are certain people, Kobe, Magic Johnson, you know, certain entertainers, you know, Cypress Hill, like anybody who's from the West Coast, Tupac, Snoop Dogg is up there, you know. So I think the disappointment comes not only from Black people, but he's probably getting it from all sides, man. Like, it's not like, okay, only Black people are mad at me, you know. It's probably like, man, and Trump is such a polarizing, controversial figure that, like, I mean, there's probably but you know, speaking of integrity, as far as celebrities, we got to be careful of that, because in this society, we do tend to put celebrities on a pedestal, and we tend to listen, you know, and take to heart celebrity opinions, you know, more so than maybe we should. I don't think we should expect integrity, and we shouldn't expect integrity from celebrities, right? Because we don't really know them, you know. Like, we like Kendrick Lamar's music, but we don't really know Kendrick Lamar. We don't know if he's a man of integrity, you know. We don't know if he's, you know, if he's a man of principle, you know. Like, and as far as like him selling out Kendrick Lamar, they put it under the guise of, you know, growing your brand. Well, growing your brand translates to increasing your net worth, you know. Like, in this society, like you say, everything is tied up into your money. Money is your status. It's your, you know, I don't know. Money is power. And I wish it wasn't that way, because, you know, the one thing with being not of the upper echelon as far as the rich, you know, it teaches you that obviously life is more valuable than just money. There's things that money can't buy. You know what I mean?
I mean, dude, like, Joe, nobody says that more or clearer than watching Elon Musk. Like, I see him and I see the most, like, this dude is like, he's got more drama, more like self-inflicted wounds, more hate by, like, he's, if inadequacy was a individual walking around, it would be this guy, and he's the richest man in the world. Money just ain't it, man. Like, if you needed another example other than Elon Musk, then there's nothing that would convince you.
Yeah, you would think if you were a man of Elon Musk means, how could you possibly be happier? You know what I mean? But think about it. If you had your wife and your 3 children, and you had Elon Musk net worth, you'd be happy as a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, yes. You don't think you would be like all downtrodden and inadequate, and, you know, like, I could take my family on a nice vacation tomorrow. We could be gone. You know what I'm saying? What's the problem?
But that's the thing, man. Like, look, don't get me on. All right, sorry. I'm about to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I know, you know what I'm saying, though. It's like the rabbit. I don't get how that happens, but it does. It does, right? I mean,
billionaires aren't normal people.
Yeah, it's crazy. So why doesn't a man like Jeff Bezos seem to rotate as much as Elon Musk, right? Like, for all we know, Jeff Bezos could be more inadequate than Elon, right? But Elon just seems so much more vulnerable than Jeff Bezos.
He's needy.
Maybe it's because
I think Elon Musk is needy. Like, he needs, like, he bought Twitter, man.
Right. I so thought that was just something he was throwing out there. I thought they were beefing or something, you know.
He was trying, remember, he tried to back out of it, but they forced him because they forced him to buy it because he said he would, and he did all this stuff, those procedural stuff, in order to like complete the sale. And he was like, at the last minute, he had to because the only reason able to buy this because he had to what's the term? It's some financial term where he takes the value of Tesla and he leverages it into Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that's the only way he was able to get the money. So he tried to back out of it. But they're like, no, you already went this far. You can't just back out now. We all invested.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we clearing our debts. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so they forced him to do it. Because he was just talking shit. Why was he talking? And then he takes the shit and then he turns it into like Nazi Central.
Yeah.
He breaks it. Like he breaks the platform. It loses lots of its value.
All that's beyond me. I don't understand all that. But a man of Elon Musk means you figure you would be just the happiest. You know, I don't understand how you get so broken, but I don't think that's going to happen to Snoop. You know, back to Snoop. I don't think that's going to happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
But, we can all sit here and say how disappointed we are in Snoop. I don't think this hurt his overall brand. It might be a small ding. I think Snoop has built up so much collateral within his community. And, I think a part of his appeal to the other side of the audience that he's attracted since doing the inauguration or even teaming up with Martha Stewart is like just the cool factor. Like you said, people love hip hop culture, other than black people. And I think they just like his coolness. I don't know if they like trust him more so than other black people or anything. This is Snoop. We could trust him, I think they just like how cool Snoop.
Trust this nigga.
Yeah,
this nigga's fine.
Yeah, he's cool. He's all right.
Well, I don't know, like,
this is
like
cool.
Who did he pick up? Like, have we heard? Like, what have we heard from Snoop since then?
Nothing.
Like,
Snoop,
I don't think
Snoop is not really famous for anything.
up?
He's not really famous for anything out these days outside of just maybe endorsements. Like, he doesn't really release any new music. I guess just appearances and endorsements, right? Like, things like the inauguration, being on commercials,
So, like, I feel like if this like actually boosted his profile, we'd have seen him like.
I don't think it boosted. I think it hurt it overall, but I don't think it hurt it much. I think we will overlook this, and Snoop will still be Snoop.
Yeah, if anything, black folk are forgiven, right?
Yeah,
like we will forgive. We forgave R. Kelly forever. Like, there's a limit, but like if you don't cross the R. Kelly limit or the Diddy limit, we could transition. Speaking of limits,
we'll forgive you until we see a video. Hey, we'll forgive you until we see a video or something.
Because we dragging somebody down the hallway.
It wasn't a lot of videos of R. Kelly early on. Okay, so we was like, man, nah, okay, him and Aaliyah, they liked each other, but it wasn't that serious. There was never no video, And then he had that crazy ass interview after all these allegations came out. R. Kelly. Remember, he had the interview where he was with the yelling and shit and all that, and the guy was trying to calm him down. What was the lady's name? Wasn't she from Good Morning America who interviewed him? Yeah.
Gayle King, yeah.
Yeah. And then you knew he was like, oh shit.
She had a fucking hot year, dude.
Yeah.
And her and Jussie Smollett.
But you knew R. Kelly did it at that point. You were just like, oh shit, yeah, that sounds like a man that's guilty right there, bro. Like that.
Niggas like, oh, that. Everybody was like, oh my god, he did
that nigga did that shit, dog.
You saw how you reacted? That nigga did it. God damn, I can't believe it.
That nigga went to straight defense
that was
mode.
the time niggas.
No, he went.
That's what people were convinced.
Yep, I was like, hell nah, he did that shit.
They're coming after my life. What did he say? He said something like that.
They tried to kill me.
They tried to kill me.
We just accused you of pissing on a girl. That's,
Yeah.
You did that shit. Yeah, 100%.
Like,
but yeah, man, I guess so.
They're trying to kill me.
You want to jump over to Diddy? Heard you trying to make the transition there. The Diddy allegations before we get into Trump. I guess we're going to do the first 100 days of Trump. Cover a little bit of him. We definitely covered Trump's first term. I mean, it had to be month by month. We probably have. If I go back and listen to all those podcasts, we probably have.
No, we covered that one thoroughly.
Coverage of Trump, like just everything, because it was all that shit was.
We
crazy.
need to do that now, man. Like, I feel like so much shit has happened. We need to like look. First off, Trump is like content. Like, this nigga is a content making machine.
100%.
Like, there's never been anything that has generated more content. Like, time has never moved faster than when this nigga is on in the public eye, dude. Like, nothing. Time moves so fast now.
Part of it has to do with his celebrity. I would say I like the. I don't know if transparency is the right word, more so than Biden's administration, but because like I said, I don't know if transparency is the right word, because I don't believe a lot of what these people put out into the public. They put out narratives and they want you to run with those, but we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. But as far as Trump being a content machine, I like the fact that at least we're engaging in with what he's thinking or doing or trying to enact, especially in comparison to the last administration, because, at least for the last couple of months, we know that Biden wasn't really running the show. You know what I mean? Like, someone was pulling strings there and running things because Biden had some kind of medical incident, I assume, to where a lot of his cognitive
Trump
functions
is pulling
dropped.
the strings here?
No, because I think presidents are figureheads, but I do think Trump has more of a grasp on his administration at this moment because of the celebrity of Trump. Like, because of his big mouth, he has to do a lot of the things that he kind of says. So, asshole or not, he has to, like, because he talks a lot. You know what I'm saying? He just talks shit. And it's like nothing more despicable. Obviously, that whole Bible photo op thing is probably one of the most despicable things I've seen Trump do. This go around, I would probably say the bullying of the president that came to his the Ukrainian president that came to his office. That was just crazy. I don't know what they were trying to pull with that.
What?
The Ukrainian president that came to his office, and remember him and Vance were trying to bully him, and what the hell was the guy's name? Forget his name.
Zelensky.
Yes. Yeah. So he hasn't done anything crazy this time around. So look, we're gonna jump.
Hold on. I got one. Oh wait, are we doing Trump? Or are we doing Diddy?
Because
if we're gonna do Trump, let me do. If we're doing Trump, I'm doing it. I'm sorry, I got to do it now anyway. I got to do it now anyway.
He's the content. Right? He's the content guy.
Hold on, man. Like, where is it? Image file. All right. This. Are you aware of this?
What the hell? Whose knuckles are those? MS-13.
All right. We're talking Trump. So, all right. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. You know the name, right? The guy who got sent to. Yeah, he's the guy from Maryland. Okay. He's a legal U.S. resident and immigrant. And he has and he was deported and sent to the El Salvador concentration camp. Mm-hmm. Right. They call it a prison, but that place is a concentration camp. We could argue semantics later.
Yeah.
So Trump holds up this picture, and this is clear. Look, what I'm about to tell you is clear in his 100 days interview he did with CBS. Right. So I'm about to tell you this. This photo is a photo of. They say these are Kilmar Abrego Garcia's knuckles. Right. And he has a tattoo of a marijuana leaf, a smiley face, a cross, and a skull. And you see the MS-13 on top.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to show that these symbols, these tattoos, represent MS-13, which they are trying to use as justification of why they deported a man without a trial, without any legal due process, why they deported him to another prison in another country when he did nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Dr. K is saying Garcia received a protective order from the court due to threats against his life back when he was here. So he was safe here until they grabbed him for nothing, and they used this tattoo as justification, saying that he's part of a gang. Now, the crazy part is, and I'm telling you right now, the crazy part is you see this MS-13. That shit is a photoshopped. They're fucking floating on 2D space over a 3D photo of a picture.
Mm.
Trump has a picture. You might be looking at this from a distance, but Trump has this picture in front of him. Trump made it very clear during his interview that he thinks this guy literally has MS-13 tattooed on his hand. And when the interviewer was like, I think you're mistaken, that was added to the photo, he was belligerent. He was furious and he was arguing that no, he literally has MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. Now, the question is, does that seem sane to you?
No, right? Obviously, because Trump is not sane, but
he's not sane. He's definitely got mental issues. We know Biden's got issues. Biden was definitely way out of fucking off his record. But this guy he's also got issues, and they present differently. So we can't say
I don't think from a cognitive standpoint he has issues, though. I think him just from a narcissistic.
You're wilding.
I think from a narcissistic standpoint, he
thinks this photo is like literally has just
now about the photo.
That's the issue. This is not a cognitive issue.
We know that Trump. We know that the president of the United States is more of a figurehead position, right? For this photo, maybe in that moment, now this is just to play devil's advocate. Maybe in that moment, Trump just got defensive because he gets very defensive with the media. We've seen him do that where he's cut people off. No, you can't talk anymore. Move on to the next one. Kind of smart alecky, dismissive and all that, But I would blame someone in his administration for this picture, for telling him. We know Trump didn't do the groundwork for this picture. They presented him with a picture and said, hey, this is the picture we want you to show. And say, hey, this is the guy, or this is his knuckles. It clearly shows. Like, he just followed what one of his people gave him and said, hold this shit up to say it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, Trump didn't look that shit up to see if it actually is real. And we've seen him get snappy with the media. One thing I do actually respect about Trump is that he will clap back at the media. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta respect him.
I don't respect him for that shit at all. Like,
you gotta respect
if you got an issue, then like
at least. It's funny.
No, you gotta that's wild.
Just for clapping
but like
back
here, let me say this. The point I'm trying to make is that like you think there's not a cognitive issue if you can't tell that like this photo is like these fucking letters are barely floating on the image of the hand itself. Like but he thinks that shit is literally a MS-13 tattooed on his knuckle. And mind you, this photo was taken like 2 weeks. This photo was taken at least probably more than 2 weeks before he had the 100 days interview. This photo was taken at a press conference. Weeks later, he had the 100 days interview, right? So if he had time to look, and he just thinks that this guy's got MS-13 tattooed on his knuckle. And you understand the problem with that is,
I didn't know
aside from him already lying, but like this nigga's taking the shit as official policy.
Yeah,
like the dude literally doesn't have the shit on his hand.
I didn't notice like, the MS-13 floating like that until you pointed it out. But when I looked at it, I was like, "Oh shit!"
You also don't have the fucking photo right in front of you. You're looking at a screen. Like this nigga's holding it like in his hands.
That
it's
shit
right
is just
there.
floating there, dog. That shit like somebody like the little stamped letter jokes that you put on.
All I'm saying is that Trump's got cognitive issues too. If you hear this nigga talk, he rambles about nothing.
Yeah. A lot of that
gets
just
angry, he's belligerent, he's 80 fucking what? He's 81? He's 81 years old.
Hey, this is the same guy that
just
hung mug shot in the Oval Office. Didn't he have a mug shot in the background of his Oval Office? You know what I mean? So it's a lot of it's narcissistic. He didn't look at that picture because he didn't want to, and he don't have to because I'm Trump and I ain't got to. That's why I didn't actually look at the picture, But he's also narcissism.
He did because he argued.
That narcissism doesn't allow him. It doesn't allow him to admit when he's wrong either. Now, clearly, he did not look at that picture to know that it was a fake, but he doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. Hence the argument with the reporter and saying that it's real. So we know that. Like, I don't know if it's cognitive. I think he's.
All right, I gotta show you.
I think he's fully able to comprehend what's going on around him. He's just so airheaded and arrogant that he only hones in on what he wants. You know what I mean? No?
Nah, bro. Dude,
when you get gifted a $400 million jet, is it 400 million or 40 billion or whatever it is? Jet.
It's like $400 million.
You're not thinking in the space of I have to do this shit because I have a responsibility to my people and to my you're in some zone where you're just narcissistic and arrogant, and I don't gotta look because I don't.
He's definitely all of those things, but he's also his kind. Look, he doesn't present it the same way Biden does.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the same point. That's the point I'm making. This guy's brain is pudding right now. His brain is gelatin. It is barely hanging together, and it's smooth as an egg. But
that's Trump's weakness.
That is
and
just his
gift.
thing.
That's Trump's weakness.
I agree.
Yeah, and his gift is that he's
a showman by nature.
Joe Biden was way more of a politician than Trump is. Trump is real to a fault. Like he's real to the point that people appreciate the non-politician part of him, but he's fake to the point that like I still can't trust this fool because he don't really know what the fuck he's talking about. So like
he never has.
Joe Biden, there's no comparison to the Joe Biden makes you feel safe and comfortable and okay, he's talking like a politician, Trump, I think that's his weakness and his gift is that he's not a politician. I
agree, man. I agree 100%. Like, look, like I said, Trump he's a showman by nature, right? Like everything he does is not planned. This thing he is a media. Like I said before, he's a media creating, like content generating engine of memes and idiocy. Like this thing he is instinctually vapid. Like he's surface level. He doesn't read. He never self-introspects. He is every sitcom character rolled into one because they're all two-dimensional. He's two-dimensional. But it's that same simplicity that makes dumb people like him, man. Like weak people think he represents strength. Dumb people think he represents intelligence, right? Because he shows it. Like ugly people think he represents beauty and handsomeness because he likes gold and gaudy things.
Oh,
right?
Trump?
He is you
use Trump and handsome in the same sense. I was confused for a second, but I got you.
No, listen, bro. Like there are pic photos of young women, like hot women, groping his cardboard cutout, saying how hot he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is a goddamn like. It's charisma, man. He has the superpower. Yeah. He's got Charles Xavier levels of charisma. If charisma was psychic ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got it. He's got it in spades. He's a 10. He's a S level threat, right? He just got it. And like,
and one leg up that Trump has, just as far as from an image standpoint, is in this capitalist society where we value money, he was seen as successful even before the presidency of the United States. You know what I mean? He was wealthy. He was entrepreneur. He was a businessman before even becoming president, a celebrity. So I think that's one thing that runs in his favor, especially in a society that worships money and celebrity is, so he's polarizing. And like you said, he's charming, but he's just not a politician. He is not the right man for the presidency of the United States, which is just, every day that he's in office, to me, it cheapens the office of the president of the United States. It's like, why can't any other celebrity run for president? If Donald Trump, what qualifies Donald Trump? I think we've had this conversation before. What qualifies Donald Trump over Mel Gibson or, Snoop?
Mel Gibson's a psycho. But here, the answer to that question is like,
maybe it's because
any other
Donald
celebrity
Trump was unique. He had business ties as well. He also had
any intelligent celebrity has a measure, like comedians. Like everybody talks about, they want Jon Stewart to run for president, right? They're like, Trump can do it. We can get Jon Stewart in. It'll never work.
Terrible president. Yeah.
I think it'll be fine, but like, it'll never work because he has one thing. His hindrance, his weakness, the weakness that Trump has none of, is self-awareness. Trump doesn't give a fuck. Like,
yeah,
everybody else kind of cares.
Mm-hmm.
That level of narcissism gives you power beyond your wildest imagination. Isn't that all Palpatine was saying?
Power. Yeah.
Power.
Yeah.
You ain't me.
Guaranteed Trump has done that shit in the mirror a couple times, man. Power.
He can't sit through a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
You can't sit through that shit. It's too long.
He just watches all the Emperor highlights on YouTube. He doesn't sit through the whole movie. He just like goes all the Emperor scenes. Show me scenes of Emperor Palpatine. It's his idol and shit, you know. Yeah. I mean,
I guess
Donald Trump is just such a unique specimen of a president because it's just like all these perfect storms coming together, right? Like his celebrity, his business ties, the political climate of the country at that time, right? That he was first elected and first came into office. I think everybody kind of took it as a joke that he was running for president, you know? I think it's a reflection of
I was trying to tell him, man. Like,
I think it's a reflection of where people's opinion of the government is right now, you know? Yeah. His ability to even be able to be elected to president of the United States for a second term, like the first term was crazy, you know, like, but his popularity did not diminish over that time where he was gone, where Joe Biden was in. If anything, it increased into him getting elected for a second time, you know? So it's just, it's wild, man. You still kind of are in shock. Like, is he really running shit? Is this? Yeah. So do you want to go over for Trump's first 100 days? And I don't have like. I know you sent the article to the group. I got an article pulled up. I mean, you know, it's just a lot of it is just, you know, promises that he made in his you know, his election.
We can go here. How about this? You read like, do you have like a list, like a bullet point list? Because I have like mine is like kind of general. It's not really anything specific.
No, go ahead. Who'd you got?
Okay, so like this one says, this is from Amnesty International. It's an article written by I think I don't know. It's written by Amnesty International. I don't know. April 30th, 2025. So the title of the article is President Trump's First 100 Days, Attacks on Human Rights, Cruelty, and Chaos. Going down to the bullet points, talks about Trump's administration has had consequences on ending asylum and targeting immigrants through mass deportation, enforced disappearances under the Alien Enemies Act, which is like kind of a made up act that they're kind of just enforcing through executive order under the idea that America is at war with gangs somewhere. So because of that, they can just deport immigrants or arrest and deport immigrants. And the next bullet is attacking freedom of expression and the right to protest, namely the crackdowns on student protesters, especially those who support the Palestinian rights and have threatened the rights to free speech and peaceful assembly. A lot of this is like reinforced by like various organizations, various Zionist organizations or Jewish organizations, and who a lot of whom those organizations who are benefactors to schools where a lot of these protests were happening. The next bullet point is undermining press freedom. Oh, I don't know if we could stop here, you know, like and I guess conversate, right? Like talk about it, you know.
Yeah, I pulled up the article too. definitely press freedom, but I would say, okay, if it now, I know some reporters were banned from, certain meeting spaces, but if it's a reporter who's repeatedly kind of,
asking questions,
did he ban the news outlet as a whole or just the individual reporter? He
has banned news outlets before. Like, didn't he ban NBC?
I think
as a whole,
right?
I don't remember which one it was. Yeah, like he banned the newspaper as a whole. Well, I'm gonna go back up to the top about the whole targeting asylum seekers and attacking freedom of expression, right? Like, so there's a whole nother part of it which I don't think is, I don't know if they cover this, maybe actually they do later. But here it's at the bottom, actually, demolishing checks on corporate accountability.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not it. Anyway, his administration, the executive branch, is literally stepping on the judicial branch's decisions, like, and Congress, like, or Congress won't act, right? Well, whatever the case, like, and this is all like happening right in front of our faces, like the whole idea of like the country. So when it comes to the deportations, right? We have the initial case where a judge ordered that the flight be turned around to bring these people back because they didn't have their day in court. They didn't have a trial to determine whether all of these things that were said about them were true.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it turns out a lot of the things they said about them were not true. Like, so these people, at least in the initial deportation to El Salvador, a lot of these people are innocent, man. Like, by definition, they have no convictions, they have no criminal records. Some, even if they do, they don't have a criminal record that removed them from the country. They haven't been convicted of anything to remove them from the country. They were by definition innocent of whatever they were claiming them of, and the administration is literally just ignoring it, which is, we have to be clear, that is unprecedented. This is like, we are at the limit. So,
and I think these authoritarian practices, as this article is pointing out, I mean, they're just getting bolder and bolder. Even without deportation, I don't think us as Americans, we should think we're above any of this authoritarian behavior being shown, because he will do to us what he has done to them 100 times over. I mean, he's shown that in his first administration during that Bible photo ops, right? Like, tear gassing people who are protesting to clear out the way for him to go do a photo op in front of a church. I mean, that's about as authoritarian as you can get, and those were American citizens there who were exercising their rights. So none of us are above that, whether you're being deported or not. These people will do whatever. I think it's because they are looking around and they realize that the reaches of that power, or like the limits, aren't there. Who's going to come up to them? Who's going to stop them? Who's going to hold them accountable? Who's going to take them to court? Are these poor immigrants going to come back with enough, legal firepower to be able to go to battle in the court system with the United States of America?
Like, definitely, probably not. Like,
no, they don't have the resources.
Yeah,
they don't have the funding.
Resources.
So they can do whatever they're looking around like, who the hell is going to stop us from doing this shit? Yeah, people are going to talk. They're going to.
But also, like if you remove them from the country and nobody knows who they are, or if they're even who they say they are, there's nobody to verify it. They can toss anybody out of the country and just be like they just dropped the people off in South Sudan. They just dropped a bunch of people off in South Sudan. Like,
and it's scary because, like, yes, that's my country of origin, but like, say you were born here from parents who immigrated there, like,
not their country of origin.
They're just, you don't know anything. You don't know anything about that country. It's scary as hell. You know what I mean? Like, you just
also not their country of origin.
Well,
you know
just
throwing people places.
When to be a citizen, it's a citizenship, it's a citizenship. So,
were you talking about America being the country of origin?
No, back to where they were dropping people off. Well, okay, you're saying it's not their country of origin, but they're being deported back to supposedly their country of origin, right? So
that would be nice, I guess.
Yeah, but there's going to be mix-ups. That's the point of the whole power thing. Who's going to challenge us? You know what I mean? Like, these people aren't. Yeah, I don't think any of us should think that we're above this kind of treatment. Okay, let me ask you this.
If they don't have due rights, then we don't have due rights.
In your opinion, have South American or whatever country, have they been taking advantage? In your opinion, do you think they've been taking advantage of the United States as far as shipping criminals off here? Or do you think the border policy is a little too lax that there have been? Now, it's probably, maybe we're a little bit more filtered from it, being from where we are, Northern Virginia, right? So, we wouldn't see, we're not as close to the border, right? Do you think it's a possibility that countries have been taking advantage of the laxness as far as the American border and allowing people to come into the country? Do you think it's possible that countries could ship criminals here purposely, or to set up criminal enterprises here, right? Because it's so easy to get into the United States, Like,
would that be easier than putting them in jail?
Yeah, but jails cost money. You have to have resources for jail. I mean,
but they got them, right? They have the jails. Why would it be easier to
I don't know.
ship them into America where they hold on, let me finish. Why would it be easy to ship them to America where, one, they'll have to get them over the border secretively, and then two, they might just be deported back? Why do if the government, are you talking about the government having these people? No, you're talking about the government having criminals and shipping them to America?
When you have okay, Dr. K says the USA has one of the worst, strictest border policies. It is super hard to get here. Well, apparently not if people are getting here in droves illegally. You know what I mean? It's got to be some way they're getting in. Like,
how is that? Hear me out, D. Let me just say, what if the whole droves and illegally is like propaganda, and like they're not actually droves? And yes, it's a lots of people, but that's just how people are. They come in groups. And what if it's not illegal if all it takes is for them to be processed? Then they're not illegal. Like, the main issue with the Trump administration that I can say right now for a fact is a lot of people they're saying are illegal immigrants are not illegal. They have paperwork or they're on a waiting list. That doesn't make them illegal. That makes them a lot of people who need processing, but that is far from illegal.
I'll give you that. But say somebody came here legally 5 years ago, right? They had a, certain amount of time they were supposed to be here, and they just stayed past that amount of time. They're not a criminal. They're not breaking any laws, right? They are a law-abiding, person, right? So
you talking about Elon Musk, or are you talking about
anybody who's from another country who could possibly be deported back to somewhere else, right?
Yeah, maybe a person who came for college, overstayed their visa.
Right, something like that. Yeah. So I mean, there's levels. I think
numbers wise, it's not that many.
It doesn't have to be that somebody snuck under the gate to come here illegally, or like snuck in the back of a trunk. You know what I mean? It's levels to it, and I mean, I don't know, man. I
guess to answer your question, like not really, right? Like, I know there are a lot of immigrants, but like that's kind of how America has always worked. America's 100%. Always had a lot of immigrants, right? And everybody's 100%. An immigrant until they live here, until they're a citizen. Right. 100%. So it's always kind of been the case. Like, America is always been known as a nation of immigrants. I will say that, like, if there's a delay and there's a problem with people not being processed. But for me, if either side actually cared about dealing with it, I'm talking about the Democrats and the Republicans, like on both sides, the solution is simply funding the border, and not in building walls or putting people in the desert and putting like metal fences and razor wire in the water. I'm talking about like funding the border so we have judges and we have attorneys and we have all that's needed there, and we to fund the process of immigration. That way the people who come here, their trials can be heard, right? They're not waiting 6 to 12 months or longer for intermittent court dates where they're just kind of hanging out, living their life in between. If that's the problem, which the right says those people who are doing that are illegals. They're not illegal. They're waiting for their turn for processing. That's just how it works. Fund it. Put the money there, and let's find out. Let's find their stories. Let's figure out if they're here for asylum. Let's find out what the situation is, and give them a pathway to citizenship so they can become contributing members. That's my answer, right? Like, when it's just like, oh, are they illegal or illegal? It's too black and white. Like, it's too like that's propaganda shit, man. Like, it's not true. If it is true, it's hugely misleading.
The court system the court system does tend to just work in black and white, though. There is not a lot of room for a gray area. You know what I mean?
I disagree.
It has to be either this way or that way. And
why do you say that?
Well, because you have to tend to kind of scoop people into one box or the other as far as the court system is concerned, right? Like, because like you said, people are so many cases are waiting to be processed. We don't have time to go into the semantics of each and every one, We kind of
what if you had more people to have the time?
And to your point, I think if they wanted to solve this problem, I think they could, obviously. They could. Right? And I don't think
instead we got like Gestapo. We have ICE running around grabbing
I'm just going to throw this idea out there, and I know that us as multicultural host of the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast, we don't really, identify with this issue, but there is the issue as far as, let's look at these people who are in power now, the European, right? The so-called white American.
White people.
I think they are, obviously worried about their population, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, now when you have to start, when you start clamping down on borders and sending people back to where they go, white people are a decreasing
majority.
Percentage of, they're the majority, but they're a decreasing percentage of the world population, right? So like, this is a white man's country, right? Like, when you look at a bunch of these pictures of the inauguration where Snoop was performing and all that, like, a lot of white people there, So
that's because that was a fucking white ass like inauguration. They're Republicans. They white, nigga. Like, Republicans are white.
The hand of power is still a white hand, you know what I mean? And they want to keep it that way, So let's get some more whiteness in this bitch. Let's get rid of all this color. It's too colorful in this motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Like, you heard the whole.
I'm joking, but I think that plays a part in it too.
No, you're 100% right. That is, in fact, you dead on. You dead on. The great theory. Dr. K just dropped it in. The white replacement theory. You heard of that, right?
Not in particular.
Joe Rogan talked about it. Elon Musk talked about it. Every rich white person has talked about it. It's the white replacement theory. It's the idea that you just laid out. What you just said is the white replacement theory. The idea that the number of white people is decreasing, and these grounds are just making more babies, and we're gonna run out of white people. And when that happens, they will do. The brown people will do to us what we did to them. right?
I'm gonna start breeding white people. Yeah,
it's not true. Like, it's not true, right? Like, here, it's just white people being scared and white people finding a reason to be racist, right? Like, who the fuck cares if there's more white people or brown people or whatever the race, right? Especially when it comes to hurting people. Like, here, in fact, I would argue that alone is the drive. The white replacement theory, which you just laid out, is the main drive behind the Trump administration, behind this current administration with Trump and his all his people backing him, Doge, all of this shit. Like, it's all about their whole worry. Like, I don't know if you heard about the initiative to give, what did it say? They said they wanted to give women $1,000 to have a baby. You heard about that?
I think I saw like an article about that. I thought that was in like China or something like that. No, I'm tripping.
Nope.
But yeah, I remember seeing something like that. Yeah.
That was Trump talking. That we're gonna give y'all a benefit. We're gonna give, because they scared. They scared about losing white people.
When you look at it,
they're also not right. They're just talking the only, if it's even true at all, that white numbers are decreasing, or that the numbers of babies are decreasing. They're not talking about people of color. Like, they're talking about specifically Anglo-Saxon, like super whites.
Yeah.
They're not counting mixed. They're not counting all this other stuff. And that's like inherently super like Nazi shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's inherently Nazi shit. Like, this is exactly what the Nazis were worried about.
Back into this kind of racist ideology, which this country and the Trump administration and the people who back him, this country was founded off of, is racism, bro.
When Doge defunded U.S. aid, people have problems with USA, but USA kept people around the world fed who needed help. People are dying because they defunded this, and particularly brown people are dying. They have the Gestapo running around black bagging black people, or not even black people, but like people of color, right? They're working their way around the black people, because you saw they just defunded Medicaid, and they just defunded like all the benefits, all the social programs that our people who have been like historically disenfranchised. They slashed the shit out of that job, right? They even broke fucking what do you call Sesame Street. I'll give you 2 guesses why, right? It's just like, that's just their prerogative, is to do white supremacist shit, man. And it all falls on line. So then when they start talking about, so just to bring it back to what we were talking about before, when you're dealing with the whole like lie of legal immigrant versus illegal immigrant, and the reason they're not funding the system, it really comes back to that same root. It's the white replacement theory, right? It's their biggest like fear. So don't believe them when they say things, because if you really want to think about anything they say, you're like, yeah, maybe they mean what they say. They don't.
Yeah.
Like, stop giving them the benefit of the doubt, because they lying.
You know, that's what these people do, man. They tell lies. They're in the business of controlling media. We were talking about how certain media outlets seem skewed, you know, one way or the other. And, you know, that's why you have to appreciate free, you know, press outlets such as the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast or any other. You know, we have to really thank YouTube, you know, and things like TikTok, where people can share ideas, because it's hard to know what to trust. It's hard to know who to believe. I mean, you'll look at one news outlet that'll say tariffs are helping. They're, you know, helping to incentivize American goods. And you'll look at another news outlet to say that tariffs are marking doom and gloom on the horizon for America. The inflation is going to happen, and that the economy is going to go into a recession. And as an everyday, you know, American citizen who, you know, tries to strive and take care of himself and his family, it's hard to know who to believe. It kind of either makes you, you know, not even pay attention to it, because you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? You feel like you're just you know, a leaf blowing in the wind. Like, okay, which direction are we gonna go in today? You know, let's see what happens.
Here's the tricky part, man. Let me just. Sorry, man. I like you're right, and I know that fucking feeling. But like, that's when I feel like when you try to like understand both sides, that's where they fucking get you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to realize one side ain't playing fair.
Neither side's playing fair.
Stop.
I think that there's two sides of the same coin.
Stop. What are you talking about?
Neither side. They're both playing the same game. It's the same game.
What do you mean by sides then? What do you mean by sides?
With the people who, there's two sides right now. There's two sides. The people who support Trump and the people who don't. Those are the only two sides.
False. Nope.
Those are the only two sides, bro.
I know you're wilding, dude. You're wilding. It's not the only two sides, man.
Dude, is there a middle ground? What's the middle? Who's in the middle?
Yeah, the way I see it is neutral
faction.
Chuck Schumer, the head of the Democratic Party. That's neutral? The middle. That's the middle ground. Yeah, Hillary Clinton. That's the neutral ground. That's neutral. No, you think that they're anti-Trump. That's how they get you, son. I'm telling you. Well, hear me out, bro. That's how they get you, man. Like Hakeem Jeffries, like these dudes who are like centrists, and they're playing the game you were just saying, right? You're saying like, hey, maybe they mean what they say. When Trump says they're illegals, we have to. They're murdering the immigrants are murdering our good American women. We have to, and you're like, that's kind of ridiculous, but I'm sure they mean well. Well, no, it's a white replacement theory. That's what they mean. Yeah. They're not saying that shit. And Hakeem and the centrists, the liberals, we call them like the liberals. We think, oh, they're all for free love and they don't want universal health care. They don't want to raise the taxes on the billionaires. They don't want to fund school programs. They're fucking on the right. Like, they're on the conservative side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they'll talk a good game as far as like, oh, we should on superficial shit. I don't know. Like what fucking Juneteenth. Yay! They'll give you Juneteenth.
You know, I was thinking about it. Juneteenth is still kind of a slap in the face. Just even from the naming.
It's 100% slap. Nobody asked for that shit.
Even from the naming, Juneteenth. The name of the real goddamn word, man. Juneteenth. Like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Juneteenth. Did we vote on this? Did we vote on this name, or was there like a national vote?
All words are made up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just Juneteenth. It sounds broken Englishy. It sounds like slavery kind of speakish, like you didn't really, massa, sir, you know what I mean? Like massa, you know, it sounds kind of like that broken English, you know, that you did Juneteenth. What day is this, sir? Juneteenth, sir, you know? Like, it's just, I don't know. I was thinking about that shit the other day.
Yeah.
Like, it pissed me off. I was like, Juneteenth? Who asked for this shit?
Nobody. You know? That's a fucking problem. That's the problem with it. Who asked for this? Nobody. There's nobody in the conversations about raising school funding. There's nobody in the conversations about universal health care. There's nobody in the conversations about reparations. That was like, you know what would help though? Juneteenth holiday, federal holiday. That would really get the white people on their side for reparations. Mm-hmm. I fucking thought that shit. Like, what are you talking about? But he threw that. Joe Biden. I say like. They're not. So here's the way I see it, right? And I'm sorry, I'm ranting. I've been through a lot, man. Just watching this whole thing, but like the way I see it, you have the left, you have the center, and you have the right, right? And this is the Overton window, right? And the way I see the left are the people who are progressives, right? The people, the far left, and this is not 100% true. Like, of course, everything's just like kind of like gauged, but the way I see the left are the people who want social programs to be increased and funded. People who want people to be able to love who they want, for LGBT and trans people to be like left alone, for socialism, like social programs, like to be able to be fully funded, like universal health care to break the fucking our healthcare system so we can have it so everybody gets healthcare no matter what without breaking us, right? Without the middleman of the insurance, right? The insurance is just a capitalistic mechanism to disenfranchise people and like things like that. And then you have the right who are conservative. They believe, I guess you have to deal with fiscal, with like financial versus social, but like financially, they believe in decreasing taxes, right? And immediately, like a person hears that, they're like, oh well, I want my taxes decreased, but at what expense is the question, right? Like, to what end do you want your taxes decreased? Do you want your taxes decreased to the point where the school is shit? All right. Do you want your taxes decreased to the point where there's no social programs to help people in need? So there will just be more people on the street begging for $1, right? And it gets on the right on the social side, right? They're worried about being able to. They're worried about freedom of speech in the realm of being able to say nigger. White people may say nigger and call racial slurs, and not in the realm of being able to speak freely or protest, right? And that's the way I see it. I see it as the economy of like of social values being expanded versus social values and social support being decreased. And if you look at it like that, there's really only one side that is the correct side, right? The side of the people, like the side that helps people, regular people. And that's not the right. All right, sorry, I'm done ranting. Anyway.
Yeah, you good. That was definitely informative, man. I mean,
I just like, it's easy to get caught up in this shit because they're always going to be like the you're right, like the two sides, the Democrats and Republicans, which I think you were talking about, right? Like the Democrats are on show, they're against Trump, but they vote with him, right? They vote with them all the time, especially especially the fucking centrists. Like, they'll vote with this motherfucker all the time. There's so many Democrats that are on their fucking pockets because they're being paid by the same benefactors. Those lobbyists are what run shit. Those lobbyists are not for social programs. So you gotta expect those lobbyists are on the right and the conservative side. So it's progressive versus conservatives, progress versus restriction. It's that's the dichotomy. And yes, most people who are against Trump are on the left side. They're on the social side, right? The side of where more people getting more things is good. And then the right side is the conservative side, where lets people get less things, and it's pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and it's, we'll hoard the money here, and if you could make it over here from over there, sure, but here's some more obstacles you get if you can.
Yeah.
Wow.
100%, man. You're definitely right. All right, so look, there's a article that I saw from Politico. I don't know if you want to pull it up real quick, man. It's called Promises. Nah, I didn't into chat. Just type in Politico promises kept, broken, and TBD. So it's defining Trump's first 100 days in office, and it's broken down into bullet points and all his major decisions in his first 100 days in office. And it also tells you whether he broke it, kept it, or whether it's to be determined. So it's a pretty good list, and it goes over a lot of his major decisions he's made. It's an article from Politico.
All right,
let me just go into the first one real quick. Start the article. In his first 100 days, President Trump has delivered on hundreds of promises and already accomplished his two most important campaign goals. The border is secure and inflation is ending. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said, the next 100 days will consist of trade deals, peace deals, and tax cuts. More American greatness is on the way. Promises made, promises kept, ? Here's a look at Trump's first 100 days in office. Transparency. Promise. Disclose who funded his presidential transition. And that promise was broken. Trump took the unprecedented step of eschewing federal funding for his presidential transition, which allowed him to sidestep the mandatory disclosure requirements every administration in modern history has followed, and accept unlimited donations from individuals and corporations. That already sounds bad. So he did not disclose the funding for his presidential transition that every president in modern history has followed, which allowed him to accept unlimited donations from individuals and corporations. Although his team
that's the same shit he did last time, didn't it?
I think so. Although his team pledged to voluntarily disclose the private funds they receive to finance the massive turnover of power from former President Joe Biden, Trump has yet to do so. So I mean, damn, he might have pocketed a lot of that money. I don't know if he would have needed to. Were you able to find the article?
It's never, yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it's never about needing the money. Like, once you pass a certain, it's never about needing it. They do it because they can. Like, you pocketed that shit straight up.
Next act, trade. Promise, enact tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China on day one. Result, TBD. So the president didn't impose any tariffs on his first day, although he signed a lengthy executive order launching a number of trade probes. So, okay, let me ask you this. Do you agree that is it possible that countries have been taking advantage of America's trade policies as far as, you know, what we export to them versus what they import to us? I think it's 100% feasible. In a capitalist economy, I think countries have definitely been taking advantage of America, because what is produced here in America? You know, when you go to all these stores, these Walmarts and these Targets and these Dollar Generals and these dollar stores and all these stores we like to shop at and buy gifts, what is ever made here? You know what I mean?
I
think countries are definitely taking advantage of trade policy with America. And I'm not an economist, obviously, but if there is anything positive to take out of these tariffs, or I have yet to see a downside. I think that
let me put it like this. Like, so I'm not an economist either. Say that. I took economy in college, took two courses of it. I don't remember shit. That shit was fucking witchcraft to me. So, but let me say this. Here's an analogy I heard about how Trump is approaching this whole trade deficit issue. One, the numbers he's citing don't have any really grounding in anything that makes sense to the economy. So when the economists who are not in his administration look at what he's talking about, they're like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Right? Like, we have the same information he's got. I don't know how the fuck they're getting these numbers. So there's that. And then there's this analogy I heard that for me made me understand like why what he's saying about the so-called trade deficit between the countries is different, right? So the analogy was, say you have money, right? And you go to a store, right? And you go to the store and you have the money and you're like, I'm going to buy this product that the store has. Right. And so you purchase the product, and in the store, the shop is like, okay, now what are you going to sell to us? And you are like, I just needed the stuff I wanted to buy. What do you mean sell to you? I don't need anything from, you're like, I don't have anything to sell you. I'm not selling anything. I'm just purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just wanted to buy a thing. And they're like, no, hey, we need to sell to you too, right? We have to sell to you too. Otherwise, this is not fair, right? And so that was like that's the idea of like, you know, what Trump is saying is that like the trade deficit is like we are selling or we're purchasing from these countries, but they're not buying from us enough. Or we need them to buy more from us. We'll keep buying things from them that we need, but we want them to buy stuff from us. And they're like, but we don't need anything from you.
Yeah. Hey, Dick, hey, come on, man.
And he's like, well, fuck
Dude.
you. I'm going to put a tariff on you because you don't want to buy shit from me.
Yeah.
But I don't need this shit from you. I just gave you money.
That's a nice way to,
I just gave you money.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would I need to sell something to? What do you mean? And yeah, so that was an analogy I heard. I thought it was pretty good. It made it make sense to me.
Entertaining it out. Yeah, that made it make sense. Yeah, like
so it's
I just
like
told you some shit. Yeah, it's like the fuck. I don't need nothing.
I just gave you money. Like what the fuck you mean to buy something else from me? So
yeah. And I guess in that sense, I kind of get it. And if you put it in layman's terms, it's kind of like okay. Now, as far as long-term, you know, consequences this could have on the economy, I guess that is TBD. I mean, we'll see. I was saying before we started recording, I think in a consumer economy such as the one that we live in, maybe it will, when things do start going up, maybe it'll teach us what things are important, what things we need versus the things that we want, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. It's tricky, like, because you have to have a basic understanding of economics, which, you know, I definitely do not.
Most people don't.
I think I'm able to comprehend.
Hey, D, don't feel bad. Trump doesn't either.
I think I'm able to comprehend, definitely from people like you, with that simple analogy you just said. That made more sense to me than any, you know, well-spoken Harvard economist I could listen to. You know what I mean? So,
I ain't gonna lie. I got that shit from Hassan Piker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you're the streamer, the Twitch streamer.
Yeah, I need you to buy
that's
something.
That's what I got
us.
the analogy from, yo. You say like the fuck I need to buy something
I don't
for?
need nothing from you. Yeah.
Why you not buying things from me too?
Okay, next promise. Blanket tariff of up to 20% on imported goods and at least a 60% tariff on Chinese goods. Promise kept. On April 2nd, the president rolled out a 10% baseline tariff on all imports, erecting a significant new trade barrier for exports to the U.S. that is forecast to reduce global trade and increase prices. On China, he went well past 60%, eventually setting a 145% tariff on goods from the world's second largest economy. I think since this article that has come down, all right, didn't it go down from 145 because China put this like 160% on us, and then they came down. So a lot of it's posturing too, you know.
I mean, this is what we call definitively a trade war.
Yeah, that, you know,
the word trade war. Let's do it
because it's all up in the stock market, and we'll promise this, and the market reacts this way, and then they promise that, and the market reacts, and we see what happens back and forth. And but you know, it's scary when you think about it, because for people who don't understand, such as myself, it's like it sounds all doom and gloom, man. It's like the economy is going to crash, the economy, you know, and it flies over your head because you're like, well, shit. I mean, I'm paying my electric and I'm paying my taxes and I'm renewing my car insurance. And you know what I mean? It's like you're trying to get by and you hear all this trade war and you're like,
Trump out here fucking around with some shit. He ain't got shit fucking like, around with. You about to fucking shake the house. Nigga. Like, why you fucking with the ground, nigga? Good fucking shaking the house, nigga. What are you doing?
But to his, okay, from just my simple understanding.
Don't do it.
It doesn't sound. I'm not saying I agree with him, Juice, because I don't think he knows either. I think he's just following his advisors and he don't know. He don't know. I think he has an understanding somewhat because of his business background, his business acumen. But you know,
real estate.
This is well. I think he has a basic understanding of like the economics of it and how this works because of his background in real estate, right? Like. He has to have some understanding, but a lot of these are forecasts. So you're not going to see the impacts of these tariffs for, you know, a year, you know, 8 months ahead, you know, so it's scary to think about.
Buy rice and beans.
Yeah.
Stock up, nigga.
No, yeah, you gotta stock up.
Stock up.
But I don't know, man. It's just weird. All right, next promise: create an internal revenue service to collect external. Excuse me, not the IRS. An external revenue service to collect tariffs. Trump signed an executive order on Inauguration Day directing cabinet officials to investigate the feasibility of establishing an external revenue service. A report was due April 1st. The White House has yet to announce any further action. So, yeah, we don't know if that's going to be kept. That promise is TBD.
Hey, guess. Hey, let me say this. If he creates an external revenue service through an executive order, I bet that fucking money gonna be missing.
Yeah, it's like
bet y'all. Hey, everybody's talking about like, he doesn't need the money. Why would he still? He wouldn't need it. He don't need the money. He's already rich. That's not how that shit works. And it's always more money, nigga. They always want
he has a lot of assets,
money.
Just because he has a lot of assets doesn't mean a lot of that money was liquid either. So hence his liquidity could come from those donations that he had from his campaign,
which he pocketed. The niggas ain't never seen that shit again.
I mean,
let me say, we gotta add valuations on these, man. We can't just read them, Like, we can't just read it. Like, just reading it is like, is it good or bad? Is what matters.
Well, do
you think an external revenue service to collect tariffs from to collect whatever he gets from these tariffs he's trying to impose?
Well, that's the thing.
You think that's a good thing?
When you start going in on tariffs, you don't know whether they're good or bad yet.
No. I mean the thing, like the thing, the promise, right? Is the promise a good promise or a bad promise?
Of the external revenue service.
Is that idea a good thing to have?
I would say, yeah. All right. Anybody who you're right, we should have an external revenue service. I don't see why that wouldn't be a thing, right? But
what if I told you that when we do have tariffs, we already have something that collects those tariffs?
100%.
And we don't need another one.
I mean, I wouldn't understand. This is once again, this is above my understanding, but to create, like you said, an external revenue service, well, who the hell is collecting them now? Like, how do we?
Who's collecting the tariffs now?
Yeah, who's doing the accounting now? Because somebody has to be keeping a record of what is happening, what money is coming from who and where. And maybe this.
It's almost like the government hasn't existed for like damn near 200 plus years.
Maybe this feeds into the idea
maybe
that
somebody
government
is the first thought big. Somebody had to collect the money.
I heard an idea that government is so big, right, that maybe it needs to be more streamlined so that the process can happen quicker, right? But then the scary thought about that is
no checks and balances,
right? Like there's not as many people to check things or to balance things.
Maybe like putting all the power in like the executive branch, and the executive branch just makes all the decisions.
And no, that's too dictator.
Like a king.
It's too close to like a dictator or something.
I guess the unitary executive theory.
Government being too big is democratic at its core, right? Like you would want it to be too big, right?
Yes,
you would want it to be, but then it slows down the process of things happening. Money comes up missing, things go missing. That's not really tracked properly the way it should be. Are our taxes being used in the proper way? Like it's a fine line, man.
It's a fine line. I mean, to like assuage, like let me just say, like I think like those are two different things. The size of the government has nothing to do with like the Pentagon not being able to pass an audit, right? I don't think that's a size issue. I think that's a what do you call it? A consequence issue. There's no consequences for not passing the audit. What the fuck do they care?
That even goes back to just what I was saying about Trump, and they don't see that limit of power anywhere. Like if you audit the Pentagon, who gives a fuck if a couple trillion come up missing? What are you gonna do?
So like I'm like my whole idea is that like so if something is broken, you put people in jail who fucking stole shit. If he stole it, you get them. Just rule of law, right? They love to say that jump, but they don't do it to the powerful, right? That's all. Trump should be in jail. This nigga ain't gonna go to jail.
Yeah,
power. So like, just make it so power doesn't, get away scot free, and then like the size of the government won't matter because people won't break the law because they don't want to go to jail. Anyway, sorry. So, I'm gonna go back and say like exact tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China on day one. That would be a bad promise. And a blanket tariff up to 20% on imported goods and at least 60% tariff on Chinese goods. That's crazy. That's a bad one.
I think a lot of that, like we said, is just posturing and playing hardball. It's kind of like a fight. It's kind of like a fight in high school. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You know what I mean? So I think it's just kind of like it's like a, well, if they're going to do this, we're going to react and show them that we're not weak. We can't show weakness, Those same tribal kind of gang affiliation kind of tactics are true even at the highest levels of government and business, right? That kind of, you're in this tribe and I'm in that tribe. We do what we do for our people, and you know what I mean? Like, throwing up gang signs, and that's all they're doing. China threw up a gang, America threw up a gang sign in the form of terror. China threw up a gang sign. Well, what, nigga? West side, you know what I mean? East, nigga, we rep the East, all this and whatever. A lot of it's just posturing, man. And okay, so I did hear something for Canada, especially, and Mexico, right? Now, the U.S. spends so much money a year on defense. Right? Defense. We spend trillions of dollars a year on defense. We have the highest defense budget of like any country, right? In the world.
It's about to go higher because of the Golden Dome. Yeah.
Now, a lot of that is to protect the borders, right? And none of us would argue as American citizens at protecting our borders, right? Like, we have what people, hey, this is the West. This is America. We got what people want. You know what I mean? They're jealous of us, even though we, like, I think most people know that, like, we think America is the center of the world here in America. A lot of people around the world could give a shit about America. You know what I mean? But hey, here we're the center of the world. So, that being said, we in protecting our borders are protecting Canada and Mexico's borders as well. Right? So maybe those tariffs are not just for imported and exported goods, because obviously it's easy to import and export from China to America. There's no ocean between the two countries, right? So, what would be the clapback for importing or enacting a tariff on these countries can only be for military defense. Now, this is the idea I heard, right? And us spending money on our defense, we're spending money on their defense. So, Canada would have to have a bigger military.
That's Canada, like how they pay for us protecting them?
Well, that's the idea that this certain guy was trying to get at, right? Like, is that, in retaliation for us spending so much money on defense, whereas Canada and Mexico do not. But, from their standpoint, they don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, in the U.S. protecting their borders, they're going to protect ours, So we don't have to worry about other countries coming over here because the U.S. spends so much money on defense. Now, that was the idea this guy was trying to get to. I don't know. But, we do know for a fact that America spends trillions of dollars, so much more than any other country, on the defense budget every year. And,
it's crazy. It's a crazy amount of money we spend.
It's wild.
I would argue that, like, I don't know, if I just had to be like, just to respond to the guy's idea, like, what happens if we don't protect them?
Well, see, in protecting ourselves, we do protect them. That's the thing. Like, we're not protecting them on purpose.
It's like we protect them as a consequence of protecting ourselves.
It's kind of
like,
what
would it make sense to, like, so if he's like, okay, so we'll charge you a tariff for that. Tariffs, which are ultimately going to be passed on to the American consumer, of course. But nonetheless, we charge you a tariff because you should pay for our protection.
Or you should at least,
it doesn't make sense, man. Like,
you should pay up more for the protection that you're getting.
They should pay more for the protection that they're getting.
You should pay up more for the protection. So we're not charging them directly for protection, but through these tariffs will be another form of revenue for America. Just kind of, now this is just all an idea. It's like, because
it sounds like some shit Trump would do.
Because America
is also a terrible idea.
Canada and Mexico are so close that there's, that it would be negligible to.
There's no value in like not having them have our back.
100% there's not.
In fact,
which is why they did it, because they knew that Canada and Mexico were going to fold. They knew Canada and Mexico were going to fold.
Canada. We use Canada many of our military endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
Like Canada's they go first. They were all up in Afghanistan.
Hey man,
they were all up in
we use them as the pawns. You trying to say they use them as the pawns?
Canada, Korea, yeah, yes we do. They go first,
I'm trying to hold it in, man. Yeah, I got you. I know what you mean. Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's just, it sounds like some shit Trump would think.
Yeah.
It's like dumb shit. Like, why would you? There's no value. So what if they're like, all right,
there's no value in turning them into an enemy. But yeah, America is such a big player in the West. It's like they knew
they a nuclear country too.
Canada and Mexico would fold to these tariffs and give the US what they wanted. They knew that.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a choice, So I kind of tended to just brush off the tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Maybe not so much on China, because China's such a big player in everything. But definitely Canada and Mexico, man. I think. You saw how quickly the Mexican president, how quickly she folded. What was it, like 2 days or something like that? Like before they gave in, before he announced the tariffs, to the time they gave in and agreed to what Trump wanted.
Yeah, let me run this. I just Googled. I Googled, did Canada agree to Trump's tariffs? Trump has partially imposed a blanket 20% on various tariffs. So here, the AI says no, but I don't trust AI. But let's look at BBC.
Bro, I know you were talking about that AI and the deep fake stuff in the chat earlier, and that shit is scary, man, because you don't know what the hell is real.
Bro, there's a whole thing that just came out about, we'll talk about later.
I remember we saw Tarkin on Star Wars. I was like, is that motherfucker there? They come to find out that actor had been dead for 20 years. Like, damn, that dude looks like he's standing right there, man. So yeah, it's scary.
So Canada retaliated with its own tariffs. And apparently, what is this article? It's April 29th. It's about the same time as this. Apparently, they're still in their own tariff war.
Yeah, because
we deserve respect. Like Canada's because they got a new prime minister now. And he's just like, yeah, we're not really fucking around with that.
Yeah, you know how the world stage is. You can't afford to look weak on the world stage. So,
the summer occurred before the 9-day pause on some tariffs. Trump's higher tariffs are set to expire. I don't know, man. As far as I'm aware, it's still they're still beefing over this shit.
And tariffs are going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute to actually see what they do. And as far as the cost being passed on to the consumer, that's why I said I think it'll teach us to decide what we really need versus what we really want, if that were to happen, if the cost does get passed on to the consumer. Because I know for a lot of us, when I look around, especially with in this day and age in 2025, as a consumer in America, we get tired of buying a lot of bullshit. I think we're all getting
we get tired of
it.
buying a lot of bullshit. No, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, because like it's
we
it's
love
all
buying
material.
Bullshit. What are you talking about?
It's,
We're Americans.
it's all material, and it's all we see the uselessness in a lot of the shit now. You know what I mean? Like, do you buy your kids nearly as many toys as you had when you were younger? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, because we like spoiling our babies. I get you. I got you. But I'm saying, like, you know, you see the uselessness.
But a lot of it's digital, right?
I'll be quicker to get my niece and nephew. You know, my son is 13 now. He doesn't play with toys, but I'll be quicker to get him some clothes or something that he can use, some basketball shoes over, you know, just some BS that he's not going to pay attention to in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you get tired of buying
talking about toys versus clothes, like.
Yeah. Okay.
All that shit's made in China. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now those basketball shoes. Does he need those? Does he really need that new pair of Jordans, or do I want to get him that pair of Jordans to make him happy? You know. Now, of course, I want to make my son happy, but if that new pair of Jordans goes up $200 in price, do I really need to get him that pair of Jordans to make him happy, or is there another way?
Maybe you get us some K-Swiss.
Oh, my son will hate me for K-Swiss, dog. Juice,
just
come
saying,
on, man. I think you already know, dog. Yo, my son's mom bought him some shoes for Christmas. I could tell from the time he opened a package, he didn't want them jokes, man. Cause just the way he looked at them when he opened it, he looked at it.
Thanks.
I already knew.
The N ones?
Never wore them, dog. I say, I'm not buying you a pair of shoes till you wear them shoes, bro. You got a good pair of shoes right there. You know, kids are all in the brands now. They want the brand that people recognize. Yeah. I want the shoe that people can look down at and see and know what it is.
But arguably, you're saying that, like, we shouldn't be worried about brands and stuff. Which I agree with.
We're such a... I mean, all these commercials. Come buy this. Come subscribe to this. Come get this, you know? It's just...
It's capitalism,
you get tired of it, though. You see the uselessness in a lot of that shit. And you're like... That shit don't mean nothing, you know? It really don't.
It's capitalism, baby. None of this shit mean anything but money.
In a consumer society, if prices go up on things that we don't need, I don't think people are going to be we'll be initially bad, but I don't think like it's going to be that big of a deal to the average person, you know? I don't think a purse increasing in price is going to be that big of a deal to the average person, bro. I think they're just going to be like,
depends on the purse. It depends if it's a purse people want, right? Like here. I think it's this. I think that like people being able to buy all the shit we can for cheap is kind of like what keeps the wheels moving here.
Oh yeah, it keeps the wheels moving.
I think if you actually like, Americans are struggling in a lot of ways, financially, health, socially. Like we are at like Americans as a whole
definitely
are at our wits' end. If you take away our ability to buy a video game or
they better not
fill in the blank.
Dude, I ain't even thinking about video games. Don't touch my video games, man.
The pitchforks will be coming out pretty soon.
You're probably right because
like that's our shit. Like we are a consumer economy. Our value is in the shit we have.
We buy,
that means nothing, right? Like,
but no.
The shit we have that we like that means nothing.
I'm not saying that stuff don't mean anything because my stuff means something to me, and I know what you mean. But that stuff behind you means something
like it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't.
Like, Windu doesn't do anything here.
But it means something because it's yours, and I get it. You know. In our possessions, but at the end of the day, you're right. It doesn't mean anything.
And so if these start costing $150 a pop, one, I'm not gonna have them, right? Like I'm just not gonna get it. And two, it depends on what it extends to. Because if that means I gotta choose between shoes and food, or like a Funko and food, then like I feel like we're crossing a line here. We are a consumer economy. We are a consuming people. We're capitalists by force at gunpoint, but essentially, like, the fuck else we gonna do? Like, appreciate nature? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
I get it.
People gonna be burning shit down.
You're actually right. I think the pitchforks will come out if people are not able to get what they want. I think it will, and I think it'll even out though. I think people will adjust. I think people will adjust, and they'll just go without those things.
When the fires die down, and we're picking up the rubble. You know what I'm saying? And like we have the powers that be dangling in the streets. Then we'll be like, all right, we should probably figure out some other shit.
Because
I look forward to that time.
We're a consumer society mixed with instant gratification. So we're not even used to waiting for shit. If shit gets delayed, people are mad. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like if I go to a restaurant and order food and my shit takes longer than 20 minutes, I'm mad. I'm ready to cuss out the manager and leave and get my money back and all that. You know what I mean? Like, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna give you a bad review and all that just because I had to wait extra time for my food, So
yeah.
I mean, so I get it.
It's better to like change, like if we want to change the American values, like so people aren't like so caught up in these material things. I fucking agree with you. Like we should change the value so we're more about social and understanding and all these other aspects of life other than the material stuff. But like to like make people be more conscious by removing the thing that they want, it's not going to end well.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my opinion. I don't know. Let's find out.
Okay. All right. So look, let's go through a few more of these promises, man. Okay, taxes promise. The largest tax cut, and these are Trump's first 100 days in office, according to Politico. His promises either kept, broken, or to be determined. Taxes promise. The largest tax cut in history.
Wait. So they can change that to confirm. That shit went through last week. The big beautiful bill.
Largest
the big beautiful bill.
Yeah, when is this? I'm sorry, I didn't even do the date on this. When is this article? Is this April?
Yeah, April 29th.
Okay, yeah, a lot of this does seem. Yep, definitely April 29th. Damn, I should have looked for a more current. That's almost a month ago. Shit.
Yes.
Okay, but there was a few on here that were interesting. I definitely wanted to touch on. Okay. Let me see. Economy and markets, end inflation and make America affordable again. Status to be determined. Inflation has not ended, but the news has been pretty good of late. Prices, as measured by the Consumer Price Index, rose 2.4% over the 12 months ended in March, compared to a 2.8% reading in February. Even excluding more volatile food and energy prices, inflation rose less than expected that month. However, that good news isn't expected to last. Those numbers are a snapshot of the economy before Trump's widespread new tariffs. So, like we said, for the last 30 minutes, these tariffs are going to take months and months for us to really feel the effect. So we don't know what it's going to feel like for consumers as of right now.
It went down a little bit, then the terrorists came to kick them in the balls.
Mm-hmm. Next promise: an economic boom like no other. That is to be determined. Amid questions
around the last one,
right? Yeah, just about questions around inflation and tariffs. The problem is looking more and more uncertain. The stock market is a fickle game. And especially when you can manipulate it with a press conference, you can hold a press conference and manipulate the stock market. You really don't know what the fuck is going on with it, Anyway,
unless you got insiders. Mm-hmm.
Next promise: education, and this is where they get a little more juicier. Education promise: close the education department. Status to be determined. The president issued an executive order in March directing Education Secretary Linda McMahon, which is this just turned into a celebrity show because Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon, yes, that Vince McMahon of WWF/WWE fame. I used to love wrestling, man. My cousin put me on wrestling way back in the day. We were watching WWE. I mean, I'm talking about Hulk Hogan, Sting. I mean, I know that was WCW early on, but he came over to WWE. We were watching Ultimate Warrior, like all through the whole, era, the X-Pac and the Suck It and the, all that, and Shawn Michaels and The Rock. Yeah, it was crazy. Okay, McMahon to take steps towards closing her agency. Fully shuttering the department would need congressional approval, but the Trump administration cut the education department's workforce nearly in half, which to me is cutting the Department of Education's workforce. If that doesn't say that they want the Americas to remain kind of dumbfounded and not knowing what's going on is cutting funding for the Department of Education. That is crazy. That they going after the babies right there, bro. They don't want your kids thinking too much. You know what I mean? Consume, obey. You ever seen those signs? Obey. What they mean?
Yeah, from the movie.
Right. McMahon said she would present lawmakers with a plan to close the agency that lawmakers could get on board with, and several congressional Republicans have introduced or are expected to introduce legislation to shut down the agency. Several congressional Republicans have or are planning to introduce such bills, but passage is a long shot. Shut down the Department of Education. Thank God for checks and balances, right? Because like you said, your scenario before, we just take the executive branch and make them hell no. That's how you get dictators. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of this shit would have been passed. Thank God
like, this
for Congress.
Shit just exactly. I mean, for now, man, like, oof, bro. Congress needs work, but like they hanging in best they can, I guess.
Next promise: ban transgender athletes from participating in women's and girls' sports.
Why not men's sports?
Promise kept. Trump signed an executive order in February blocking transgender athletes from participating in women's sports. Since then, the Trump administration has leveraged that order to compel states and schools to bar transgender students from women's sports teams, threatening to pull federal funds. What the administration says is a violation the federal civil rights law protecting against sex-based discrimination. This is a tricky one. Because I bet you a lot of people agree with him. I bet you a lot of people agree with Trump on this one. I bet you
that's only because for the same reason that you think it's reasonable hold on, let me finish. For the same reason that you think that it's only illegals that are like being deported, and they're all illegals. Like it's propaganda bullshit. Like it's just propaganda shit. Like there's the whole idea of like the men participating in women's sport is bullshit, right?
I think this was definitely passed to as a promise to his constituents, to the people who supported him, because this really has no political bearing. I think this would be beyond Donald Trump's radar if he hadn't made this promise in his campaign.
It's just to be spiteful.
Yeah, exactly, and to be spiteful and to keep promises. They're racist. They don't, like. But
they're racists doing racist shit for the racists.
So only banning transgender athletes from participating in women's and girls' sports. I think because you don't ban them from men's sports because they are men. Most of the men who are participating in these women and girls' sports are men, and you don't need to ban them from a men's sports competition because they would be on equal playing fields with the men. You know what I mean? They have the same muscular and bone structure. So
it said transgender athletes. Transgender goes both ways.
100%.
So that means wait a minute. That means that they're only banning. That means that they're only banning women, transgender women from women's sports. They're not banning transgender men from men's sports.
Well, I think that the thing is you don't have as many transgender men winning.
No, there's sports. Plenty.
I don't think so, Juice. I don't think you have a woman who identifies as a man winning a man's track meet. I don't think that's as big of an outrage as a man who identifies as a woman winning a woman's track meet. You know what I mean?
What if you just don't hear about it because that's not the thing they're focusing on?
Could be.
Like, what if like every story you think you know of a transgender woman beating biological women is happening all the time?
Tailored or skewed or something like that, yeah.
No, it's not happening like that. Like, it's not happening like that. If it happens, it's a fluke because anyway, this shit pisses me off. This one pisses me off because there's like there are already regulations in place that make it so you or I can't compete with women. They're already there.
I bet you a bunch of them women that kick my ass, dog. I ain't even got to be trans, man. They just whip my ass straight off.
That's what I'm saying. So imagine imagine like you are taking estrogen, right? And that's already like changing your physical structure. You're taking it with a frame of time that makes these changes active, and then you compete with these women who are already at the top of their game. I mean, it's just not a thing, but we already said it. They're just doing it to be spiteful. It's just annoying because like motherfuckers aren't like, it's an easy thing to debunk. It's just motherfuckers don't care to like, they don't care to
I feel like outside of this being
the hatefulness of it.
I think outside of this being a campaign promise, this should be beyond the spectrum of the federal, of the president of the United States. So this had to be just to be spiteful or just to live up to some kind of promise he made to certain constituents. And because to be honest with you, it kind of seems small potatoes. I feel like this should be left at the state level, if anything.
I think they said it's like overall across the country, there's like, I don't remember the exact number, but it's like, it's less than 12 like transgender women that play sports. Like 12 in the country. So they got an executive order against 12 people. It's crazy shit. Anyway. So let me say the education thing, that's some bullshit. That's bad. It's just yes, the Republicans want to keep you and your children stupid. You disband the Department of Education because you don't want education. Simple as that. If you're worried about what's being taught, then you try to regulate education. You try to fund. You try to skew education. You don't break education. The Department of Education. Like these are the places that fund schools in rural areas when property value is already shit. Right. If it's funded by property value, you're in a super rural area, your schools already has no money. So they would get money from the federal government, but not no more. So your rural ass kids already having problems are going to be dumber. It's just how it works, man.
Yeah, it's sad when you think about it because, like, kids are innocent. Definitely to a certain age. And to everybody can be sensitive to any issue involving kids. As a parent, if you look at your child of any age, but definitely your kindergarten, your fourth, fifth, whatever, like everybody can identify with why would you want to go after the babies, man? Like they're the most sweetest, innocent thing ever. And like you to attack education for second graders and third graders and fourth graders, poor kids who wouldn't have a chance any other way, I mean, like you just said, but these people don't care. They don't care because they don't have the problem of their kids being educated. They have access to the best education programs. Like, so
dude, over the last 2-3 years, there have been a push for lowering ages of children to work and lowering the ages of children to work overnight shifts during school for lower wages. Like
that's goal, some totalitarian shit.
The goal is capitalist shit.
Yeah.
It's some capitalist shit. You want some fucking workers. You need some miners. You need some motherfuckers digging in this shit. The robots can't do it just yet.
At the end of the day, a lot of these. The crazy thing is, at the end of the day, a lot of these political decisions, these promises that this list that we're going through and that we're not even done with yet, a lot of these have their reasoning based in capitalism. You know what I mean? A lot of these tariffs, the next promise, and the federal government's crackdown on cryptocurrency. It's capitalism. You know what I mean? It makes
crazy, bro.
This makes all these decisions have a base in capitalism and reasons that it's all about money. It's all about money.
They just unregulated and damn near almost untraceable currency. The fuck do you think is gonna happen, son? You worried about Diddy human trafficking? You worried about trafficking?
Now, you worried about an untraceable cryptocurrency
that can be exchanged for USD or whatever other currency in the US? Well, it's definitely gonna be exchangeable in USD, right? They're unregulating that shit. It's fucking all this shit. This is bread right now. This is bread that you can pass through the internet with in unmarked wallets with no names or IDs attached. It's out there. You can send it to anybody.
I still don't really understand what cryptocurrency even is. So it's just digital currency. But isn't that what all money is? Isn't a lot of USD digital? You know what I mean? Like what sets cryptocurrency aside?
So I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm not gonna lie and say, huh? No.
Cryptocurrency can be exchanged in any country. You can exchange it for USD or euros or
not every currency, no.
Yeah.
But there are currencies. There's a number of currencies that do exchange for it, but not every currency.
And the price of it just went up. I mean, I remember when they first announced it, I was like, what the fuck is cryptocurrency? Because they mentioned what's the site Robinhood. I remember it was a bunch of people on my job that were downloading Robinhood and buying stocks on Robinhood. This is around the whole time of the remember the GameStop GameStop stock that went up, that a bunch of people they did what a lot of
that's not crypto though.
Well, no, it wasn't crypto, but that was around the time where Robinhood. So Robinhood, the article says Wall Street regulator quickly dropped more than a dozen lawsuits and investigations against companies like Coinbase, Kraken, and Robinhood. And I got reminded of the GameStop stock from Robinhood because a lot of guys on my job were talking to me about Robinhood. Yo, on Robinhood, it was a pump and dump by
the people. Yeah,
like, dude, I just bought 200 shares of this some random company on Robinhood. What the fuck is this? You know? So yeah, it just reminded me of Robinhood. I know that wasn't the same as crypto.
Yeah, but like crypto, the idea of crypto is that it's not really. Well, let me not lie. I don't really understand crypto that much, even though I worked with it for a while. But like the idea is that it's not like it's so currency, physical U.S. currency is typically backed by gold, right? Or like some like current like. A lot of other currencies in the world like is backed by the US dollar, right? It's like it's about supporting the I'm not acting like I understand. So anybody watching this, I don't understand. But it's about backing the currency so that it's actually is a real thing, right? It's backed by something. A lot of it is often confidence. So much of it is confidence, right? That's why, there's a recession, people make run for the bank, you got a big problem because the confidence is down. But like crypto is supposed to be backed by it's definitely backed by confidence in people's ability to spend it. And it's backed by, I don't know, something called blockchain. I don't know. Anyway, it's not the same as US dollars. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know. All I know is it's all witchcraft, and it is really easy to exploit.
It is. It's all witchcraft. Like, and you can artificially drive up the value of something. It has to be witchcraft, right? Like the whole system. When they say the system is rigged, Black people love to call out conspiracies because we've been at the center of some of the most controversial ones throughout history, right? Like we always felt like the man was against us or after us. So I think we have a natural predisposition to believe in conspiracy theories and think that people are after us, right? Like, so anytime I can artificially drive up the price or drive down the price of something just from a few words or a few actions through a media outlet, it's all witchcraft and beyond my realm of understanding. So,
but in this case, it is true because you heard about the whole Trump's coin, right?
Yeah, I did. He's coming out with his own coin and stuff. I thought that was
he came out with the coin, and then he came out with it. People bought it, and he fucking tanked it and took the money out of that shit.
Why the hell would you buy that shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you buy it?
People trust this nigga, man. It's a pump and dump.
I did hear about
shit
that.
like that is legal now. It's a pump and dump, man. Like the pump and dump is a problem because it's confidence. People invest in it, and when people invest in it, it raises value. Same with the stocks. When people put money into it, it becomes important. And then the people who own the shares, who own the most, they'll sell it super fast for these high numbers. And when they sell a huge, like normal people own this much, right? The big people own this much. So when they sell all of theirs and all that goes to zero, your little bit goes to less than zero.
Yeah, it goes to shit, yeah.
Pump and dump. Like, that's how that shit I fucking follow. But, like, Trump did that shit too.
Capitalism, man.
To his own people who, yeah.
All right, next promise was a legal promise. Pardon people convicted for their participation in the January 6, 2021 riot. Result kept. Trump blew past all the analysts and his vice president who suspected he would pardon a few of the roughly 1,600 people charged or convicted for storming the Capitol, but refrained from granting reprieves to the most violent or seditious members of the mob. Trump leaned in as aggressively as possible. On his first day, he pardoned more than 1,000 defendants, erased hundreds of additional pending cases, and commuted the sentences of about a dozen people convicted of seditious conspiracy. The clemency was so sweeping and vaguely worded that some January 6 defendants are attempting to use it to erase crimes that had nothing to do with the attack on the Capitol, which is causing some. I guess when you get a vote of confidence from the President of the United States, you try to flip that and make it go as far as it can. So I don't blame him in that regard. You know what I mean? Hey, why I got all this child support? Look, President Trump pardoned me, man. On January 6th, I was pardoned, man. So I don't know why I'm paying all this child support, you know? All right. So they try to take that shit and flip it into something else. So I ain't hating.
So y'all should hire me because President Trump pardoned me.
And you know,
I should be the CEO.
I guess I can respect Trump for having those folks back, even though you ran up and you trespassed into the Capitol building on some crazy. You're lucky you didn't get shot, first of all. You know what I'm saying?
No, somebody got shot.
They could have mowed all y'all motherfuckers down. You know what I mean? Which is crazy that they didn't. I'm shocked that more people didn't get injured in this because from those videos we saw, I mean, I don't know how any way that those people were not allowed to march on that Capitol. You know, you have security there, and when you see this mob of people coming towards you, I don't know how there were not more shots fired, you know, honestly, you know, unless they were given an order to stand down, to let people go. Right. I know. I don't want to go there, but because you feel like regardless of the color of the majority of the people's skin, it's still a mob, and you still have a job to do as security. And when you see this mob of people coming towards you, I feel like your natural reaction would be to go to the gun, you know, to defend your position. But
to be fair, these are security. These weren't regular police. Like, you're thinking like cops.
Of course,
you're
but
thinking
still,
cops.
You have
these
people are not supposed to be here, and they marched on that building.
Mm-hmm. But like, cops are way more prone to start busting. Like, if it was regular cops, they probably would have shot a lot of people. These weren't like cops.
Yeah, but I want to know the exact number of people that were hurt in this march, but I couldn't say it was any more than 5 or 6.
I think 5 people died.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
And not
it wasn't
exactly
many.
Then. It was like 5, like one lady was shot. Another person was like injured and died later. And then other people had like related issues, like health related issues that stemmed from this that died.
This article says roughly 1,600 people were charged or convicted for storming the Capitol. So that's thousands of people. I mean, imagine all the people that were not charged or convicted. Thousands of people descending upon this building. I'm just shocked that nobody panicked and just let off a few more rounds. I mean, this could have been really bad, you know, as far as casualties go, you know, which you might be right. Maybe the color of their skin did have a lot to do with them standing down. Maybe they were ordered to stand down. Maybe they were told to let it happen.
They knew they were Trump supporters. They knew they were Republicans. Like, you're not convincing me that like being white and a Trump supporter, a conservative, doesn't give you more benefit of the doubt than if you were like if these were like they could be white, but if they were like had purple hair and like septum piercings, like they'd have like just because they're not like traditional white America. Conservatives come in there with their Trump hats and their plaid shirts and their goatees and shit. Like they're fucking that's America right there. We can't shoot these people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way I see it.
I remember the videos of that day though. I had no idea what was going on because I had to work at night. I'm napping for work, wake up to go to work. I'm in the car. It's like 8:30 at night. I turn on the radio, WTOP. Okay, so this afternoon the Capitol was stormed. What the fuck? I get to work. I look on Instagram. I mean, just all the videos, all these people climbing fucking roofs and shit and running through the. I'm like, how the hell did this happen? How did this happen? I mean, I just knew I was going to see videos of people getting shot, like just machine gunned down and all this. You know what I mean? Because like,
I was surprised too that they didn't
allowed to descend on one of the most secure government buildings in the District of Columbia. That's like storming the Pentagon or something. You know what I mean? I mean, like, how did that even happen? Because you would have had to have seen the crowd gathering, right? Which means you would have increased security. And once you saw them moving towards you, you feel like someone would have let off a couple more rounds of shots. You know, the only thing that makes sense is that they were told to stand down and not to allow these people to march through. I don't know. Crazy. Next promise, healthcare. Promise, make in vitro fertilization free. Status to be determined. In February, Trump signed an executive order that urges federal officials to study the issue and generate policy proposals. Though the EO does not make any policy or spending changes related to IVF, some conservative leaders, many who have otherwise cheered his reproductive health policies, have said the administration risks promoting a practice they view as akin to abortion. I don't know much about this issue. We did just touch on the whole white diminishment issue. Maybe
what do you mean, the white replacement theory?
The white replacement theory. Maybe that has something to do with it.
So I know a little bit.
I don't
know. Here's the thing. So there is all right. You know how like conservatives are like generally Christian, and like all these Republicans are like Christian, like zealots and shit. And like Trump has no religion because he doesn't give a fuck. Like Trump personally is like, I think in vitro fertilization is fine. I don't really care. Have babies. People like it. Let them do it. The conservative religious nuts think it's like abortion because in the process of in vitro fertilization, it's kind of like shotgunning like sperm and eggs, right? Some shit just ain't gonna connect, but you're throwing a whole bunch at the uterus, whatever.
Yeah.
So you're throwing a whole bunch at it. Yeah, so there's not like a whole lot. There's a lot that aren't gonna connect and aren't gonna like settle in, right?
Pepper.
So they die. Yeah. You just.
Yeah.
So so they're like, oh no, this is like they think that's the same as like abortion in their kind of deranged way. It's really a reach. That said, now off topic, did you hear about the bombing of the in vitro fertilization clinic? It was last week. A guy went to an in vitro fertilization clinic where they store eggs and semen for families who want to try later, right? And he bombed that shit with a car bomb. You hear about that shit at all?
Why did he do that?
Now that's the weird part. Okay, so you ever heard of antinatalism? So antinatalism is the idea that like we are forced to exist and that by not being able to consent to existence and birth, like conception, birth, existence, by not being able to consent to these things, we are victims, or what's the word? Not victims, but like we are, I guess victims is probably a fine word. We're victims of the world. Essentially, we're victims of our parents. We're victims of society. We didn't choose to be here. Therefore, we are taken advantage of, being forced to live in this world. And so the guy who did it, his name was Guy something. Anyway, I don't remember. Anyway, his whole ideology was that, I'm saving these non-existent separated sperms and eggs from the pain of existence.
From existing, yeah.
And so I don't think anybody died. 5 people were injured. He essentially blew himself up in his car, and he damaged the facility. But he actually, I don't think he actually got any of the frozen items or material.
Which is crazy anyway. I mean, this guy's a fucking crackpot anyway. I mean, you know how many of these clinics they have? Okay, like you're gonna bomb one of them. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know why you even wasting your time.
For the cause, man. You guys make. Hey, Luigi Mangione only allegedly shot one CEO.
Yeah,
but he sent ripples through the world.
But that one CEO, to me, would have far more reaching consequences than this one facility that you bombed. When they have 100 more just like it all around the world.
No, they replaced. This nigga's already replaced. The machine keeps going. It's the principle that matters. So, I guess for the argument, I'm not arguing that he should have. I'm arguing for rash action. I believe in rash action when it fits. But anyway, if you're worried about I don't know, I'm thinking you could make ideology out of anything. This nigga's ideology was existence. Is pain. He literally took that's like some anime shit. Existence is pain. That's like, you ever watch Evangelion? Why am I here?
Some Jujutsu Kaisen shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The sin of consciousness.
Yeah,
the sin of self-awareness, man.
Evil diabolical shit. Yeah.
The fucking Naruto shit, the fucking Mangekyo Tsukiyomi shit. This nigga,
you're right.
He'll put everybody in an eternal dream, right?
Straight up evil shit. Damn. All right, sorry, we about halfway through this, man. We're at 2 hours and 42 minutes, man.
Hold on, man. We can't go through this whole list. It's so long as shit.
Is it? Okay, hang on, because there were a couple more. All right, let me pick out a couple more. It'll be right, because I'm still scrolling. This joint is long as shit. All right, we're gonna pick out just a couple more. Let's do 3 more. All right, let me scroll real quick. Okay, here's a good one. All right, I'm gonna do 2. One promise: reinstate a ban on transgender troops serving in the military. That's 1. We're gonna roll this into 2. Next promise: eliminate DEI from the military and launch a task force to remove, quote, woke generals. So that one was kept. The reinstate a ban on transgender troops serving in the military is to be determined. Reinstate a ban on transgender troops. That is ridiculous. I mean, if that isn't playing up to your constituents and being petty and bitter, I don't know what is. Transgender DEI has nothing to do. I remember during that whole Reagan National Airport. Exactly. That Reagan National Airport where he blamed DEI for the crash and all that and said they had the wrong people in the control tower. That is ridiculous, dude. Your sexuality has nothing to do with your ability to perform a task. That's ridiculous.
No, he doesn't mean. He means black people by DEI, don't he?
Well, black people or people of color or
they call a trans minority. DEI is black people.
or people of a certain minority, right? Like you know, I tend to roll. Now I know I'm black, so black issues should be above first and foremost at the thought of my mind as a black man. You know, issues that affect the black community. But when I say DEI, I'm just kind of grouping all minorities into one. You know, including black people.
I know you think that. I'm talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
When they say DEI, they mean black people.
So what I'm saying,
like you'll never hear them complain about DEI unless there's a black person in it.
He blamed DEI for. I remember during that interview for the whole crash, right when they had his press conference, said, "Well, DEI could be to blame for them not having the right controller in the tower. Blah 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 could have led to the crash." But you know, just before we even go to the DEI, that a ban on transgender troops serving in the military—that's ridiculous. Like you being transgender has nothing to do with your ability to serve in the United States military, bro. If there's a role for you to fill and a way for you to serve your country, and you are willing to do that, I do not see an issue. And I don't think any sane or rational person would see that an issue with that either. Okay. You have the ability to perform the job, regardless whether you're transgender or not, is ridiculous and it doesn't matter. Okay. This is not track and field. This is not football. It's not a sport, right? This is the United States military, bro.
Stop.
I'm just saying, this is the United States military, man. This is not these are tasks that can be performed by anyone, right? That's totally ridiculous. Eliminate DEI from the military and launch a task force. See, now DEI from the military. If he's really talking about black people, now how can you eliminate DEI from the military? I think DEI represents an idea that could infect the military more opposed as to any certain group of individuals that could serve in the military. Like, I think he would more like to take out the transgenders. And again, these two examples of promises are just to serve his constituents, to be petty and bitter. You know what I mean? Because these have no bearing on
the first person Trump fired. Joint Chief Chairman flirted with dismissals at Pentagon. He fired the black guy. He's like the black general. Like he fired the black general.
I remember. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. Didn't the general come to like the White House or something? Or I think so. Yeah, I think I do remember hearing that.
Yeah.
It's been a long couple months.
I don't know what the fuck I don't know what the fuck a woke general is. Like, what the fuck is a woke general, man? Like a general?
Any general that doesn't agree with him and his administration and his advisors and what he thinks
they should. Pretty much, right?
It's pretty much it.
Like, if you like abide by like rules and norms and that disagree, then you're woke.
Man, we might have to put a pin in this. I said let's do it down to 3. I'll do 3 more. I mean, I'm going through the list. I'm like, damn, all these joints are good. One of the promises in immigration, sign an executive order to end birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants born in the U.S. Kept, but there's an asterisk. That's just one. Next, the next promise, restore the Trump travel ban on entry from terror-plagued countries. I mean, terror-plagued countries is layman terms.
So they said Trump signed an executive order attempting to unilaterally end birthright citizenship.
Yeah. It was terror-plagued countries.
So is like signing an executive order. Say again?
When he says terror-plagued countries, those could be countries that might have a problem with America from the policies that America have carried out overseas. Terror-plagued countries, because
travel ban entry for terror-plagued countries.
Next promise: implement mass deportations of undocumented immigrants on day 1, and broken and to be determined. So yeah, I mean, seal the border and stop the invasion. Quote, stop the invasion. Yeah, it's just this list, man. We might have to put a bookmark on this and come back to this list, man. This is like everything that's interesting about Trump's administration, everything that's wrong, And even the small little fraction that some could perceive as right is rolled up in this whole article of his first 100 days. Everything wrong with Trump is rolled up right here in front of us. You know what I mean? Like it's very divisive, and it's very, none of this is bringing anybody together. You know what I mean? And none of these promises that we've seen is going to unify, or, you know, and that was my main issue with him, you know, during the I remember during the Reagan airport crash, and he blamed DEI, and I was like, look, man, that was just so despicable. At that moment, it was a national tragedy. You had a chance to say something good and draw people together in a time of mourning for these people who lost their lives. And you said some stupid shit that was just dumb and ignorant and selfish and arrogant and fucked up the whole moment. And it was just dumb. You didn't have to say it. It was stupid, you know? And like, it just...
But he don't give a fuck.
He don't.
Like, he don't even think about that shit.
That's what's fun.
Not even a concern for him.
Fun is the wrong word. That's what's polarizing about Trump, and that's what's frustrating about Trump all at one time. Is
why
you
he's a
can't help
demon.
but pay attention to him because he is polarizing, but you can't help but not like this motherfucker because he is.
I could ignore this nigga if he wasn't running the country. I could 100% ignore this motherfucker.
Yeah. Like if he was still on what's the show? You're Fired.
The Apprentice? I didn't give a fucking. I never fucking watched this.
Who the hell gave a about The Apprentice? Yeah.
Until this motherfucker came to that goddamn escalator talking about I'm running for president. That's when I was like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found out about this nigga, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then this motherfucker won. Anyway, you want to talk Diddy? One more thing of the whole white replacement theory, just so we could like put a pin in this part. White South Africans that came to America to flee genocide. It's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely bullshit. But that's just another of their whole mechanic. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, these white motherfucking like Nazi ass. It's all Nazi shit, man. It's all Nazi shit. So just another instance of the whole white replacement theory. They're scared. They have no reason to be. If they weren't such assholes, they will probably be fucking more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it. That's the only thing. They're worried about, like, motherfuckers don't want to fuck these white dudes because they're so fucking annoying. And I'm not talking about all white dudes. I'm talking about those guys who guys who worry about shit like this are concerned about the number of white people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I think they're intolerable to most women. So anyway, just more Nazi shit in the government. Like, you heard of details on that where they're like, yeah, they just get kind of like a blanket pass to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not really like, so like, I think one guy was like outed as like, it's not his real name. One, he's not a farmer. This is like, it's supposed to be for farmers. This guy's not a farmer. He has like 3 dealerships. Like, it was like a bunch of shit with these like people that came over, man. Yeah.
Well, shit, I mean, what is Elon Musk? He's South African, right?
South African Nazi, yeah.
And them people had to go somewhere after the Reich, the Third Reich fell, you know?
True. Argentina, South Africa.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can touch on Diddy for a few minutes, man. It's crazy, man. Like, when you read through some of the shit that is being said in this trial, I mean, like, do they go in front of this courtroom with all these cameras and all these reporters and shit and these people and really
what do
say,
you have?
like...
Because I got, like, nothing.
Well,
other than the Torre video and the... Well, so I got this thing from his lawyer.
I typed in Diddy trial update, and the first video that popped up was Kanye responding to Kid Cudi on the stand. The Kid Cudi's claims. And it's just like, when you read, like I said, the girl who testified against Diddy was saying that she had to cover herself in oil while 2 men were having sex with her, and she had to go on to the next room where she had sex in the next room, and this, what they call them, freak offs and all that. It's just crazy, man. Like, do you really have to sit there in front of all these people and talk about all that shit? Like, yeah, he fucked me, you know? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm like, is this like, can this be considered like a good thing? Because like that, to me, that sounds like kind of humiliating, right?
Right, 100%. 100%.
Like, would you do that shit if it was like, if you were cool with it? I don't know.
I don't know either. You know, and all this stuff about his trial, you know, racketeering and sex trafficking and all that is like, I totally forgot. The whole video of him beating the shit out of that girl totally slipped out of the public consciousness. Like,
that was Cassie, right?
That shit was more despicable. This is the person we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Here, let me run this video real quick.
Let's not forget that this man who beat and dragged this girl up the hallway, this is the man we're talking about in this trial. So let's keep that in mind. He's willing to do something like that.
All right, I'm gonna run this real quick. It's related.
I
don't know how long it's gonna run, but if it goes too long, I'll just stop it. But let me play this. Because it's about that.
Evidence of domestic violence at the Sean Diddy Combs trial. If he's not charged with domestic violence or even assault, well, the reason is that sex trafficking, a federal law.
Sorry, let me go back a little bit.
Why is there all this evidence of domestic violence at the Sean Diddy Combs trial if he's not charged with domestic violence or even assault? Well, the reason is this. Sex trafficking, a federal law, requires proof of a number of things, and one of those is either force, fraud, or coercion. And coercion is defined as the threat of force, a fear of bodily injury. So the domestic violence may go a long way for the government to prove that Cassie Ventura and other victims felt the fear of force, fraud, or coercion, and probably most likely force or coercion. And it also just generally looks terrible for Sean Diddy Combs, especially the hotel video that plainly shows him beating Cassie Ventura. The government has, I think, a lot of evidence in their arsenal to show force and coercion. These are necessary elements of sex trafficking.
Okay, so yeah, it's NBC News. So, yeah, so that's why they're like.
So see this person who's in this video? This is the man we're talking about. Just like I was just saying, yeah. So of course he could have done these things. Look how he is in this video, you know?
Like crazy shit, bro.
Where they would use everything against you. Imagine being Sean Diddy Combs, sitting in that courtroom, looking at them play this video for all these folks. You know? And I totally forgot about this video until somebody I think I saw it on Instagram or Facebook or something the other day, and I said, oh shit. I totally forgot about this video. You dragged that goddamn girl down the hallway.
Dude, well, that's the video. This is
in the midst of all this trial and everything going on. I didn't even think about it, but I was just like, damn, this is the same person who did that shit.
Like, this is a context in which I hold Diddy in my mind. Like, it's Bad Boy. It's the Bad Boy with the two bottles.
Mm-hmm.
It's him with the fuck was that? I heard something upstairs. But it's Bad Boy.
Yeah, you heard that bottle of baby oil fall, man. Diddy at the top of the stairs with a bottle of baby oil and some Timberland boots.
He gonna slide down the stairs.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, dog.
You talking about me?
Yeah, you talking about me? Take that.
You were coming in like the like Iceman.
Yeah.
But no, is that Joe Bad Boy? It's him. Every Step I Take video. With Faith Evans dancing in the rain, and it's just fucking in this video. Like, that's when I think of Diddy, I pictured these scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And also the TikTok, the TikTok filter that has Diddy pop up over your shoulder. You ever see that shit? Oh, that's right. You're on TikTok. Anyway, there's a TikTok filter that, like,
I'm gonna set it up because everybody keep telling me I'm gonna set up TikTok. I'm gonna set up my TikTok account.
Yo, it's like a dude. The scene is like a dude is like he's in like the grocery store and he looks over at the baby oil, and then like a Diddy like pops up over this nigga's shoulder like this.
Yeah.
He's like, That's just hilarious. But yeah, anyway, that's all I think of this nigga.
So this article, Diddy is in trial right now. He faces charges of racketeering. Prosecutors say they will prove that Combs used his businesses and employees to, quote, carry out, facilitate, and cover up his acts of violence, abuse, and commercial sex. 100%. Yes. That's what a rich and powerful man does. He uses his status and wealth and his business to cover up his acts of depravity. They all do that. You know what I mean? Like, I think
they should all be held accountable.
I think the only person I would be shocked to hear that did something like that may be like, oh man, I don't know, maybe Elon Musk, because he's so nutty. You know what I mean? I'd be shocked to hear if Elon Musk was sex trafficking and racketeering.
Hey, have you heard about the compound?
Some of these employees testified in week 2. So
you can't bring up Elon Musk and not let me say this about him.
This is week 2. All right. This is week 2 of Diddy's trial. George Kaplan, a personal assistant for Combs from 2013 to 2015, told jurors that he would toss out liquor bottles and drugs and clean up baby oil from Combs' hotel rooms after the music producer finished his freak-offs. Like, damn, dog, you had to soak up all the baby oil, bro? That's tough. It's a tough-ass job. That's a lot of baby oil, man.
You gotta have a helmet. For real. You might fucking hurt yourself.
Like a breathing mask.
Imagine trying to, clean some baby oil off the fucking shelf.
How the fuck
your foot slip the baby oil on the floor.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how the hell you soak up baby oil? Padding. Like, is it baby powder? I'm sure they have, some kind of powder they sprinkle on there that kind of soaks the oil up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Go
ahead. Go ahead about Musk.
Something absorbent.
What happened with Musk?
No. I mean, I don't know I don't know if this is fully corroborated.
Yeah, I know it's a joke.
One thing we do know is that he uses Twitter to essentially solicit women for impregnation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been verified by, I think, at least one, if not two, Twitter users, women who had following, received a message from Musk asking to have his baby, and then, once denied, had her monetization removed. So that's happened. And then there's a story. Let me see. I won't see how corroborated this is, but there's a story that he has a compound in which he has women live with his other children. Elon Musk compound in Austin, Texas. Okay, maybe it's something he's still building. He's reportedly building a compound in the suburb of Austin with multiple properties. The purpose of the compound is to house Musk's children and their mothers, although not all children are expected to live there. So, I mean, if there's going to be a place rife with sexual violence, that will be one of those places. That's some culty shit. Said he spent. That's in 2024. Elon Musk builds $35 million Texas compound for his 11 kids. Nazi shit. Anyway, so yeah, sorry. Back to topic.
Straight up, just not knowing what to do with your wealth. I don't know. Because if I had the means, I probably would buy a $30 million compound for my kids too. But you just feel like there's so much more that you could do with that money. And I guess human nature is to get greedy when you get that amount of wealth. You just want to hoard.
Imagine you bought everything. Imagine you own everything you've ever wanted.
Imagine all the humanitarian good you can do with that money, man. You know?
He doesn't give a fuck about that shit, though.
I know. And it's easy for me to say not having that much money because you know you don't need that much to live. But it's like, just imagine where's all the good people at, man? Who's the guy? Buffett.
Good
Warren
people
Buffett.
don't get that much money.
Like, why does Warren Buffett
these.
seem so squeaky clean where a person like Elon Musk doesn't? Is it because we don't know that much about Warren Buffett? Because he seems like he's really into philanthropy, and didn't he promise to give away a bunch of his wealth upon his death? Is that Warren Buffett, or is that am I thinking about Bill Gates? I think it's Warren Buffett.
I won't believe it till I see it.
Right. I guess at that point, when you're worth 80 trillion, whatever the fuck Warren
give
Buffett
it away
is worth,
now, nigga. Why
you don't really care what happens to your money after your death because you dead. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do with it? You know, what would you do with 30 trillion after you died? You know, you could leave your kids $1 trillion and they'd be happy. You know,
that's generations of money. Like, that's more money than your great grandchildren were able to spend if they've been frivolous as fuck their entire existence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's more money. It's too much. It's too much money. I don't want to go. Yeah. I don't want to go down the rich people or the billionaire shouldn't exist rabbit hole.
So back to Diddy. During this trial, like we said, this is week 2. Where am I reading this article from? Let me. This article is from MSN.com, and it is dated 1 day ago. So 4/24/25. Let me see. I saw something about Kid Cudi. Another personal assistant, David James, testified that Combs had him stock hotel rooms with Viagra, condoms, baby oil, and lubricant, among other supplies. He also recounted how Combs had 3 handguns on his lap as they drove to a Los Angeles diner looking for his record industry rival, Death Row Records co-founder Suge Knight. See, all this is conjectural because this does not prove he broke the law, the federal law of racketeering and sex trafficking. This is all just, he say, she say, Viagra, condoms, baby oil. That's why I said Diddy's facing the court of law and the court of public opinion. Now, this shit looks bad for the court of public opinion. Viagra, condoms, baby oil, and lubricant. It looks like you're a depraved, entitled motherfucker who just is used to taking what he wants and you don't give a fuck about nobody else, But the court of law doesn't have any, they don't have any bearing on that. They care, did you racketeer and did you sex traffic? Okay, because those are the federal crimes, right? So
wait, racketeering would be what? The transport of the guns?
Racketeering, I think that's when you use your businesses as a front for illicit activity, right? Is that what racketeering?
Oh yeah. I don't know. Is that it? If that is, that seems like that definitely seems like those parties.
Yeah, let me look up the actual definition of racketeering. Because that's some shit you hear like they got like Al Capone. I know they got him for tax evasion, but you know what I'm talking about, like racketeering. You get like a gangster for racketeering. Dishonest and fraudulent business dealings. So yes. So racketeering. Wow. I wonder how many people we could get for that. Trump, Musk, you know what I mean? Dishonest and fraudulent business dealings. That's very vague. Like, I wonder how many motherfuckers we could get on racketeering charges.
Yeah, it says the practice of making money from organized illegal activity. So like if him having these freak offs was in the process of purchasing, and I guess it depends on the state, but like in doing so, he's purchasing not strippers but prostitutes and recording people and doing acts with these prostitutes, and he has all this stuff because remember there was hard drives. That's a whole
hiring the prostitutes under the guise of working for Bad Boy Records while transporting them across state lines for sexual activities is racketeering and sex trafficking. Yeah,
that's it. So
but to him, it was just a freak off. You know what I'm saying? Like what? Like they signed on. They're consenting adults. They signed up.
Motherfucker was wrong.
Yeah, he damn sure was wrong.
Yeah, let me play this. Wrong. This is Torre talking about Kid Cudi. It might be interesting. Yeah.
Cudi said Diddy was like a Marvel supervillain. Kid Cudi said Diddy was like a Marvel supervillain. He got on the stand and told a wild story. December 2011, 5:30 in the morning, Cassie, who he's secretly dating, calls him and says, Diddy has found out about us. I'm freaked out. Come pick me up. He gets in the Porsche, picks her up, takes her to a hotel. When he gets to the hotel, his assistant calls. Diddy is in your house. He forced his way in. So Cudi's driving back to his house in the Hollywood Hills, and he calls Diddy, and he's like, motherfucker, are you in my house? And Puff says, I am here waiting for you. Like eerie calm, super villain calm. But while Cudi is driving back, Diddy unwraps Christmas presents that Cudi had for his family and locks his dog in the bathroom, traumatizing the dog. Diddy wasn't there when Cudi got back, but a few weeks later, Cudi's Porsche goes up in flames. On the stand, he blamed Diddy. Arson is among the predicate acts in the racketeering charge. Months later, they decide to get together to try to settle the beef. They decide to meet in a hotel, in a meeting room. Diddy is already there when Cudi walks in. And Cudi says on the stand, Diddy is looking out the window calmly with his hands behind his back, looking like a Marvel supervillain. He said Diddy's calmness was very off-putting. At the end of the meeting, Cudi said, so what are we going to do about my car? And Diddy said, what are you talking about? That really bothered Cudi, as you could imagine. This sort of vengeful, retaliatory action is part of what the government wants you to see as part of the coercion and the control and the violence he used to keep Cassie from... I mean, if you're asking, why didn't she just leave after she sees Cudi's car blow up?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were like, all right, why didn't she just leave, man? Like, why didn't she just get out of there? This nigga's got the power to blow up other niggas' cars. Like, he's not... I saw a comedian talk about this. He's a deal from the Daily Show. Anyway, he was doing a stand-up, and he was talking about it. He's like, Diddy wasn't like underneath the car, like wiring shit.
Wiring no shit and fucking
No, he got somebody out there. He had somebody out there hook this nigga car up to blow up.
Which 100%.
This nigga's got like goons. He's got goons. Like, what do you mean? So they're like, why wouldn't she just get out of there? Fuck you mean? This nigga possessed her. Who owned her?
Dudes will kill you for $10,000, dog. Yeah, that motherfucker got goons, dog. He's worth $1 billion. Yes, I got goons. Yes. I got people I can pay to do shit like that.
He was physically abusive. He's blowing up people's cars. No, this motherfucker is a menace.
I don't believe for a second that he was actually in Kid Cudi's house. He got goons. I don't need to go up in your house, bro. I'm not going to incriminate myself. I'm the money. How do you think
he got in the house? Do you think he walked up in there by himself? They said he forced his way in. His goons forced his way in.
100%.
And then he just hung out.
I don't even know if he was actually even there, though. I wouldn't even incriminate myself. Like, if I was, I would have been there under the guise that, hey, I'm Diddy. He's going to let me in because I'm Kid Cudi. I'm Diddy. I'm known. I'm a celebrity. But I wouldn't have came there on a hostile shit because there's cameras everywhere nowadays. Anybody who was in the house could have recorded you. I don't think Diddy's stupid. I don't think he's stupid. He may have done some stupid shit,
it's not him being in the house
he's a stupid person. Well, yeah, but you know, when you're there with goons, people are going to record you, and they know you got some crazy shit. I mean, I don't think Diddy's stupid enough to be in that house at that moment. I would hope not. But
I mean, 100%. I think he would be. Why wouldn't he be? You don't think? I think Diddy definitely would walk up in a nigga house, just being like, and tell him I'm waiting for you to get here.
I don't know. I don't think Diddy's the type to get his hands dirty like that. To me, he don't strike me as the type to get his hands dirty. He strikes me as the type to pay people to get their hands dirty, but he ain't gonna do it himself. I totally believe also that Diddy was standing there like a Marvel supervillain, bro. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that egomaniacal thing going on. His is probably way worse than
looking
Trump
out the window.
Black people tend to do that. We tend to shit on other black people, especially when I got jewels, I got this, I got that, you know. So that kind of narcissism, I think it takes root in us much deeper, you know, because we've been so deprived of things as a culture for so long, you know. Like Trump, his level of narcissism is, you know, I think it's probably worse than Diddy's because of the wealth
born
gap
of
there.
Hubris, and he's never had any consequences. Yeah,
but I think Diddy's is just maybe a little more despicable than Trump's, just because of the culture that we come from and the fact that he's got everything, and he probably had an air of untouchability about him. 100%, he was standing there like a Marvel supervillain, looking out the window. So
you think Diddy's worse than Trump?
Hubris and ego wise, maybe not power, not full-fledged power worse than Trump, but because black people.
Trump was essentially convicted of like sexual assault.
But he got out of it. He ain't Diddy ain't getting out of that shit. Trump will, because Trump it's different.
The president, it's different being also he lost the case. Like it's money. Right? I mean, it was a civil case, right? So it was like he has to pay money, but like, I mean, he probably won't just because he's the president. But like, he was ordered to pay the money, like billions of dollars or millions of dollars. I forgot how much.
I think Diddy's hubris and narcissism is probably worse than Trump's, just because of the fact that Trump kind of came from money, whereas Diddy kind of had to build his fortune. You know, he wasn't growing up in the ghetto when he was younger, right? Didn't he go to Howard University back in the day? So it wasn't like he was from the hood, like Snoop or Big or something like that. You know, I think Diddy kind of grew up okay, right? Like middle class. But he wasn't rich. And I think, you know, black folks, we definitely tend to shit on other, like dangling my chain in your face. And that's why we always have the Prada and the Gucci and the name brands. And we want you to see the labels and the cars. We want to flash in front of you. You know what I mean? You can have the richest white person in the world. You know, Elon Musk, you don't see no Gucci belt on Elon. You know what I mean? But black people always have
Trump. Trump has everything in gold. He literally has gold toilets.
Well, we don't see that.
Airplane
we hear about it, but we don't see it.
He had his airplane decked out in gold.
Real money is quiet.
Motherfucker.
Real money is quiet. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, and you know, black money tends to be flashy and loud. The gold grills and the cars and the rims and all that. You know, so I think Diddy probably was a little worse. He probably was standing there like a Marvel villain. He felt like a Marvel villain, whereas Trump really is a Marvel villain. Diddy just felt like he was one, which made his worse.
Well, does that by definition make Trump worse?
No, it made Diddy worse because Diddy feels like he's a Marvel villain. He's not. He's the fake villain. He feels like he's in charge, but he's not. Okay. Trump really wills.
I guess there's no value in like comparing two demons. So
yeah,
they're both demons.
Yeah, I would hope Diddy's not stupid enough to break into Kid Cudi's out. This whole thing is crazy because, you know, of all the highlights we hear of this trial, all the highlights we hear of this trial is always like, he told me to bring lubricants and baby oil and shit. Like, where's the actual laws that are being broken, man? Stop with all this damn, you know what I mean? Like, rumors of how many baby oil bottles you went through in one night and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Diddy sent me to the store to get more baby oil at 2 a.m. and shit. Like, damn, bro. Like, can we hear
that's all they said, facts? Though? We already got the stuff. Look, all of that stuff is building the character. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, all that is building because they have other stuff.
They do have that shit, yeah.
So all that shit is being like, you see the stuff over here? They're saying that stuff meant this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this shit over here was about. That's what they're doing. It's crazy though, man. It's wild, dude. Like
it is.
Diddy's man. Like so like if you had like that kind of money, it makes you wonder like what would you do? Like I could see the appeal of having like a sex party, I guess. But at the same time, a sex party seems weird.
No, 15 years ago,
maybe I just can't imagine it because I'm not like in that realm. But like, I would go. Like, you were saying earlier. Like,
we were talking precast 15 years ago. I'm 41. 15 years ago, 16 years ago, when I was 24, 25, I'm damn sure going to a Diddy party, bro. Nowadays, I might be a little more hesitant because I don't want to go to jail or, you know what I mean, be caught up. But
we're talking about like what, like when you get there, like you get there and they got like motherfuckers running around in baby oil.
They got you
like,
a bathrobe.
They like running the train on somebody, and you're just like, all right, it's your turn. You're just like, I wouldn't. I don't know, man. Maybe I just can't imagine.
Yeah, one thing
with us, I could do that shit.
Like we were saying, you know, also precast, we've never been trained type dudes. I've never been the type to want to run a train. I don't want to run a train on anybody. Like, you know, if I'm
imagining that's what this shit is like. Like, that's what it was like. Like,
if I want to have intimacy with a woman, I don't want to share. I'm selfish that way. I would like to go into a room by myself. Diddy, can I get a room, Diddy, by myself? Okay, I'll take the baby oil and all that, but can we get? I ain't running.
We'll slide over here. But I'm not doing with y'all.
You're right. I'm not running no trains, dog, and I don't got next on nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, but
I keep thinking of people walking around. I keep thinking about people in Diddy's house, like going room to room like this.
Yeah, knocking on the door and shit. Doom, doom, doom. Y'all done? Y'all, it's my turn. Yeah. Just ice skating, fucking sliding around and shit.
They slide up to the door. Y'all done?
It's hard to say what I would do or would not do if I've ever had that level of celebrity and status and money and you know, like you said, the drugs were flowing, and I've never been the type to do drugs, right? I never done no drugs, outside of weed or alcohol, right? But who's to say that I would not? Who's to say I wouldn't succumb to that if I was in that environment? You know what I mean? I don't know if I would be strong enough, right? I can say it now. I think I would be now in my mature 41-year-old age to resist certain things. But when I'm 24, 25, when a lot of this shit was happening, I don't know. But man.
Like, even still, it's different than like, would we go to a party versus would we do what he did? That right. I think we know. Like, I wouldn't do what he did.
Mm-hmm. Well,
right? Like,
to me,
the shit he was doing is crazy. Like, he was a manipulative dude.
To me, this whole case,
but I don't know
about the racketeering and the sex trafficking. They have to prove that. But in the court of public opinion, all you got to do is take a look at that video to know what type of person you're dealing with. When he's dragging that damn girl, first of all, he's out there in a damn bathrobe, kicking this damn girl in the back of her head. That's the type of man you're dealing with. Okay, so remember that. Court of public opinion. I'm not giving Diddy no benefit of doubt. He probably did a lot of that shit they said.
He did everything that they said he did. I believe 100%.
He ran down a hotel room, a hotel hallway where he knew they had cameras, kicking this girl in the head and dragging her back to the room. Like, that level of hubris and just, I mean, you can't make that shit up.
Untouchable. Like,
you're right. Just, and the video didn't, the thing that even makes you mad is the video didn't surface 3, 4, 5 years after it happened.
Did he try to bury it?
Crazy that he even has that power to bury it. I'm shocked.
Yeah, wait a minute. What was the story? What was the story with that shit? It was like he had purchased it and he was supposed. Oh fuck! I can't remember the story how that joint got out, but it was like some misalignment with the payment to keep it suppressed, so it got released. It was like he might have been making payments or some shit, like paying regularly to like hide the video or something. I don't remember exactly. I need to look it up, but it's crazy how like that's what money does for you. $10,000 a month to keep this secret. That's fine. That's nothing.
This article is from MSN. So the hotel manager, like I said, the second week of his trial, hotel manager says Combs always left a costly mess. One of the last witnesses of this past week was Frederic Zemmour, the general manager of Le Hermitage Beverly Hills in California. He revealed that Combs' guest profile noted that he, quote, always spills candle wax on everything and uses excessive amounts of oil, end quote. The profile instructed staff to place the room out of order upon his departure for deep cleaning. Please authorize an extra $1,000 charge when guest stays with us to cover any room damages, Combs' guest profile said. Witnesses have testified that Combs liked to use excessive amounts of candles and baby oil during freak-offs. Why is this information just being thrown in our face like that, dog? We've heard more about the amount of oil he done used in these freak-offs than any of the actual federal charges.
Maybe he gets really dry. Dog, he could have like eczema. He's got a severe case of eczema.
Whatever kind of depravity was going on at these things, somebody
and he didn't like electric light.
I bet you they had to have some stories. There have to be some stories that have emerged from these freak offs that, like, I would love to hear some stories. You know, just sit me down.
I think we're gonna hear more. I think there's definitely gonna be more coming. Like, what's the whole? I don't know. There's the whole thing about like guys and women, like the whole. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, man, Diddy's in some trouble, man.
Yeah. God bless him, man. Hey, he's lived a very privileged life to which he should, hopefully, in hindsight, hopefully he's sitting wherever he is right now thinking, damn, I had it pretty sweet, man. If I would have just, you know, been a little more humble and took my time, you know, maybe things would have turned out better. And I think the thing that a lot of people kind of get confused is that we think Diddy's going to be reduced down to nothing after this, which he'll have.
Depends if he goes to jail.
I still think he'll have significant fortune to look forward to, because I don't think they can tie a lot of his earnings to these illicit business dealings. I think the racketeering, I think he used the business to cover up a lot of the illicit activities, but I don't think they can tie the money earnings into the illegal activities. So they're not going to be able to go specifically after his money unless he was being paid for some of these things. You know what I mean? So I think they're going to be able to leave his fortune alone. I mean, they're going to put a big hole in his pocket with court costs, you know? So I think he's going to have a little bit to sit back on. Hopefully Diddy just takes his money, whatever he has left, and just sits his ass down somewhere. Enjoy your life, man. I
hope he goes to jail.
Because life is hard. And we don't.
You don't want him to go to jail?
See, Juice. Now that's not if he didn't break the law, right? Like,
oh yeah, of course. If he didn't break the law, don't put him in jail. But if he did break the law,
racketeering. Do I care?
Go to jail.
Do me personally? It might be unlawful, but do I care that he used the bad boy label to hire certain people for sex acts? I don't give a shit. Now, if it's against federal law, you broke the law, buddy. You gotta go to jail. But to me, that's a especially when a lot of these people were consenting adults. It wasn't like they were kidnapped sex slaves from another country. Now, I don't know if they were or not.
Cassie wasn't from another country, but she was arguably a sex slave.
Mm-hmm. Any girl who stays with a guy who's willing to kick your ass in the back of the head, you gotta have some issues, bro. He kicked you in the back of the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell you I don't give a shit about you any more than that. You know what I mean? I kicked you in the back of your shit, you know? Like, you do that to people who you want to beat up at the club, you know? Like, if I tell you, you told your wife you love her, dude, if you told your wife you love her and you kicked her in the back of the head the next day, it's like, do I really love you? You know what I'm saying?
Arguably, no.
She was cradled on the ground. That nigga fucking kicked her with. Did he even have on socks? He did have on. Did he have socks on?
Like, the way I see it is that, like, so Cassie was like, he essentially groomed her, right? Like, he groomed her to a degree where, like, he was all she had in the world. And this nigga was a fucking monster Mongol, right? Like, moguls is the word, mogul. Like, he could have had her taken out at any moment. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he kicked her and he like abused her and he's a piece of shit for doing all that stuff, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, he's a terrible person. He's a fucking monster. I think he needs to go to jail for that. For that shit alone, I think he needs to go to jail.
More
we got
so
that
than
shit
that,
on video. He need to go to jail off break.
More so for that than the trafficking. Like I said, if he brought somebody across state lines against their will, if he brought somebody across state lines against their will, that's one thing, you know. But just to bring somebody across state lines to perform sexual acts is a federal crime, buddy. You broke the law. You know what I'm saying? You knew that shit was against the law when you did it. You know what I'm saying? You knew that
like,
shit.
If he's like, if that's okay, then like that shit sets a bad precedent. If you did that shit, then you got to go to jail. I just think I think like the consequences of this type of behavior and his like history of like manipulation and exploitation of all of these artists under him.
We already know from all the bad boy, yeah.
To I think it's retribution. His ass should go to jail.
We already know from all the artists because we, you know,
G-Dep, Craig Mack, Biggie, he manipulated and exploited all of these people. Then he did sexual like assault. Then he's like abusive. He's the worst person. If anybody needs to go to jail, it's Trump. After that, it's Diddy.
And the thing with Diddy is like we've been following him for so long, specifically the black community, because of the hip hop scene. And like, I mean, since we were fucking in middle school, we've been following Diddy. You know what I mean? From all the artists that he put on, you know, as far as the music goes, you know, and articles and things that he's been doing around, you know, Sean John and Ciroc and all that. You know what I mean? Like no one can deny he's a smart businessman, but. Yeah, man, if you broke the law, you got to suffer the consequences, bro, because you're right. It does set a bad example. And but it does when Trump gets out of it. And when anytime you can use money to buy your way out of legalities, it always sets a bad precedent. So
I agree.
You know,
we should have an actual rule of law, even for the rich people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sad, man. It's sad. I don't really see how someone who can be that on top can have such a fall from grace, but that shit happens, and it happened to Diddy, and goddamn, just, you know, anytime you want to think about who Diddy is, just look at that video of him whooping Cassie's ass. That's all you need to know. That's all you need.
Every time I think of Diddy, I think of that.
Yeah, and I just for some reason I totally spaced on it the last couple of weeks with this trial. The video popped up the other day for some reason. Somewhere, YouTube or something. And I was shit. Oh yeah, that's right. He did kick her in the back of the head and shit. Damn. We talked about it on the cast. Damn, I told you, it just didn't even. Oh yeah, that's the motherfucker we're dealing with. Oh yeah, got it. But yeah, man. I don't know. Anything else on Diddy, man?
Nah.
Yeah.
Fuck that nigga.
Yeah, man. Well, yo, we back to the old days, man. 3.5 hour long cast. That just feels like the old days right here, man. Yo, any word from Ace, man? You talked to Ace lately?
Nope.
Nah, because I remember she was on with the early cast. I was listening to one of the early cast earlier this week, man. Way early. Yeah. Like, I think we were at her apartment for the show, man. Like, I mean, I'm talking about
we did do a cast at the apartment before.
Yeah, like we did like 1 or 2 there, 3 there, something like that. And this was way early on. Wow. Yeah, but you know, shout outs to Ace, man. Hope she's doing well, man, wherever she is, man.
Yeah, straight up.
But yeah, man. I guess that's gonna wrap us up for this episode.
Yeah, yeah, we can call it, man. Like, I'm glad the videos worked. So
yeah,
they came through clearly on your side. Looks good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I heard it. And you know, I got it playing in the background. Yeah, it came out clear.
All right, cool.
Yeah, no, we definitely got to start using those videos more. Those are good reference points, good jumping off points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, my brother.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, I guess that's gonna wrap us up, man. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us for this episode.
Our enduring fans, you know, appreciate y'all tuning in.
Hey, we did get a comment last week, Juice, man. That shit brought a tear to my eye when you sent that to the group, man.
Yeah,
that shit brought it. Man,
thank you. Appreciate
it. A long time.
They were correcting us on some shit. Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. You know, hey, any attention is good attention, man. So yeah, I take it too, man. Yeah. But yeah, man. All right, bro. Guess that's gonna wrap us up, man. Yes, sir. Peace. Thanks for joining us, guys. Peace.
In stream.